Hey, what's up everybody?
Hi everyone!
Welcome to another weekly or Wednesday live stream of the MSI Insiders. I'm Peter.
I'm Mike.
And let's get right on the way. So,
been a while for me.
Sorry?
To get used to streaming again.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, it's been a while. I mean, you people are probably getting sick of me now because I've been here on stream for a couple of weeks in a row again. But
they were already sick of you before, but
yeah, it doesn't matter. It's one of my charms, you know.
And today you have something to make up for you.
Well, yeah, let's hope. Let's hope so indeed. So what we're going to do today, as promised, we're going to be looking at the RTX 2080 Ti Lightning Z, which is our most ridiculous graphics card. And I'll tell you why later on in the stream. I'll explain all about it. We're also going to be doing some overclocking with it, because that's pretty much what this card is built for. But it has some over-the-top features which we're going to show you, we're going to demonstrate. But we also have, to thank you of course for watching and reward you guys, we got a nice giveaway. So a couple of people during this stream will be the lucky winners of a, I believe $20 Steam code, so you know, pretty nice. And you can do pretty much whatever you want with it, you know. That's the nice thing about a Steam code. It's not like just one game and either you like it or you don't.
You can just pick whatever you like best.
Exactly, yeah. Or wait for a Steam sale, you know. You can always do that.
That's always a good idea. Then you might be able to pick up a couple of games for 20 or something.
Yeah. You know, bargain hunter.
Exactly.
Alright. So yeah, if you wanna have a shot at winning one of the game codes, the Steam codes, go
it's essentially a game code.
Well, pretty much. Go to msi.com/2/insider, which is on the screen right now. And make sure you subscribe to our Twitch and YouTube channels. And if you already are subscribed, don't worry, just go to the link, subscribe, or click on I want to participate, so you don't have to like it all over again. But the more channels you like, the more chances you have to win a code, so just keep that in mind.
During the live stream, if you have any questions, just drop them in chat. We'll try to answer as many of them as possible.
We are noticing that our usual chat program dashboard is having some trouble with some of the chat relays, so it can be that we don't see all the questions. You know, if we don't answer questions posted on Periscope, for example, or on Twitch, you can always go to our YouTube channel, because that one is pretty spicy from what I see. So there's a lot of guys.
There.
Exactly. So those ones should be coming in for sure. That's really good quality video anyway, so if you're watching, especially on YouTube or on Facebook, we would advise to go over to YouTube or to Twitch, because that's, you know, there you get full HD, 60 FPS. You know, that's the good stuff. That's what you want.
And still I hear people in chat, please stream at 1440p. I don't think we can. I'm not sure.
Maybe we can, but let's just say, especially also for capturing and stuff, you know, the capture cards that we have at the moment, they support...
They're 1080p, 60 FPS.
Yes, yeah.
And most of the platforms that we stream to, because we stream to multiple platforms,
yes,
most of them don't support those resolutions.
Well, half of them pretty much don't even support full HD yet, so see what we're dealing with here, people?
So if you're watching on Facebook or Periscope, if you go to YouTube or Twitch, then you will get 1080p 60 FPS. So for the best quality.
You can see us in even better, shinier quality, you know. Who doesn't want that?
Like ray tracing on.
Exactly, yeah, you know. Facebook it's like RTX off, and then you go to YouTube it's RTX on.
And like shining quality, that's what you need with this
graphics card. With this graphics card, oh hell yes. I mean, this is, like I said, this is the most ridiculous graphics card we have, and I'm gonna prove it to you guys.
I think it might have disappeared tomorrow morning.
It's already disappeared a couple of times, you know. And then it resurfaces, yeah. It's how it goes with these kind of products, especially if you only have a few of them. So yeah, maybe we can do a little bit of an introduction of the card as well. So if you want to go to the slides there, yeah. So I've prepared a couple of slides. Don't worry, not too many. So the slogan of the Lightning card, and if you don't know about it yet, it's built to be perfect. And what we mean by that, you know, the Lightning has a reputation. It's going back a lot of years already, and it's our most high-end card in any given generation, pretty much. You know, we always wait, at least as far as we know, for the highest end GPU. So in this case, it's the 2080 Ti. In the last generation, it was the 1080 Ti, and based on the highest end GPU, except for the Titans, of course. But yeah, we will build the
highest end version.
Yeah, the most highest end version.
So the high end of the high end,
yeah,
pretty much.
And that goes for the inside, but also the outside of the card. So It used to be mostly focused on the inside because it was the base. It started out with overclocking, extreme overclocking, breaking world records. That has become a little bit more difficult in the past couple of years because there are a few restrictions, especially to cards, being sent out and that you can buy in the shops. Because the first cards, they had tools like Afterburner where back then you could actually, by moving the sliders a bit too far, you could actually break your graphics card. These days, so it's kind of a good thing as well that they kind of limited that for normal usage.
You still can break it, but it's harder.
Yeah, you have to try harder, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Try harder to break it.
Yeah, come on, put in some effort. So yeah, these cards, the basis of it is basically what is the best card you can create, both in terms of the PCB and the components, to make sure that the card can break world records, which it has already. But also, the past couple of years, you probably noticed as well if you're a bit into the component scene. If you look back a few generations, the card were just a lot more plain. It started out with just PCB and like a transparent fan or something on it,
yeah.
and a few heat sinks. And now it's like it's like a finished product. You have to actually try hard to see anything of the PCB or the component. So, following that trend, of course, we also thought, okay, so this card has to be like the best, the most ridiculous thing you can buy. So what else can we do and what else can we include? I believe traditionally the Lightning also pretty much includes a lot of experimental stuff where we think, all right, so we kind of want to try it, and maybe some of the things are either very expensive, so we don't want to do it on mainstream products because then they would be way more expensive, and nobody likes products that are way too expensive. So yeah, the Lightning is a bit more expensive, but it's also very exotic in terms of the features, the materials we use, a lot of crazy stuff going on.
So it has pretty much anything. Like, you might even not use certain features on the Lightning, because if you only do gaming, there's some stuff that is for overclocking.
Yeah.
But also, if you do just overclocking, there is some RGB stuff. So
well, there's a cooler on there, and if you do extreme overclocking, and I'm going to show you that later on as well, because we got some picture and even a bit of a movie of some guys trying to break world records. The first thing they do actually is rip the cooler off because they want to put like what they call an LN2, so a liquid nitrogen pot on there. So they slaughter the card pretty much, or strip it down to the bare essentials.
Yeah,
that's I think a better description. So yeah, but I mean, it depends on what you want to do with the card. So there, you can do a lot with it. It's built to break world records. You can do pretty
much anything with it.
Yeah, that's you can you can even do was it a domino game or something if you have enough of them. No, but I mean,
that will be an expensive domino game.
Yeah, oh hell yes.
But an impressive one.
Oh yeah, yeah. But in terms of gaming, this card will give you a very good experience as well. It's not just for overclocking, but keep in mind indeed there's a lot of features on there that are only for extreme overclocking, and if you just game on this card, you will probably never touch or use, which is fine. You don't have to. But we are going to touch on some of them today and show you, why they're there, how they're being used, and kind of stuff like that. Anyway, so let's have a little bit of a look around the card. As you can see, we have it here. Maybe we can go either to the main view or maybe a close-up. I don't know. Let's see what's best. There we go. So as you can see, here's the card. It is quite big. Also on the side, I'm not going to lift it out here because it's connected, obviously. But it is quite big. It takes 3 slots. And it's quite heavy as well. There's a big heatsink on there, so even on air you can do a lot of overclocking already because the cooler is really good. This is at the moment the best cooler we have on any graphics card out there. So not just extreme features but also extreme cooling. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Maybe let's see. I don't think I can. Well, maybe I can stop the fans by just. I
see some questions about the giveaway. If you cannot see the giveaway link on the page we just provided, I will also put a direct link in YouTube and Twitch, where you can directly join it.
Yeah. So what I'm doing now for you guys, I'm shutting down the system as well, so you can see the fans when they're not spinning. Just so I can show you a little bit better what's going on there. Mike will at the same time in the chat also put the direct link in the chat, so he's doing that. So yeah, sign up, make sure you do that. So as you can see now, so the system has been shut down, so now the fans have stopped. But as you can see, these are, well, pretty much the Torx 3.0 fans that you know from our current well, yeah, they're being used on the Trifrozer design on the 20 series cards, but also on the Twin Frozer. Pretty much you can notice them by the little trims on the normal fans. Because as you can see quite clearly by the light here, this fan, the one without the yellow trim, but also the other trims on here, this one actually has a dip like mid-fan. So that's what we call a dispersion fan. And this one actually has a, like a regular curved shape, but with the added trims here that actually focus the air a bit more. The fan usually will spin this way, obviously, because it needs to push air down into here. So what this will do is this will, as the air moves over this fan blade, it will focus the air a bit more before it hits this curved fan blade here and pushes down. So it's very, this provides a bit more steady airflow and more air pressure. So pretty much translates to better cooling. That's pretty much all you need to know. These two, I believe, are 10 centimeters. This one is a 9mm fan in the middle, so this one's a little bit smaller, as you can see. It does have the very nice gold fan sticker, as we call it. All of them have double ball bearings, so they will last like forever, pretty much.
And they will stay silent forever.
Yes.
That's always a bit tricky with fan technology. If you're using double ball bearings, they will stay silent over years. Yeah. While other technologies sometimes get more loud over years. Yeah. It depends on how you use it, but if it's a very dusty environment, for example, or a very dusty case, dust can get caught up in the fans as well and in the bearings. So with double ball bearings, you really don't get those problems. We have a question in chat by Edward. Why does Lightning not have a back fan smaller due to NVLink port like Gaming X Trio? That's a really good question. It's because, well, you can't see it right here, but maybe I can, or maybe you can move the detail, because this is a cam you can lift. Here you can see, so I've actually put the protector on here, but here's the NVLink port. We've actually tested this one, and this one can actually still manage to put the NVLink connector without any issues, without hitting the cooler. So I think on Gaming X Trio, maybe we wanted to be a bit more careful. So to prevent any issues, we already made the front fan a bit smaller indeed. I was also surprised when I saw it, because I thought, wait a minute, don't we have to do that to make sure we can fit all those connectors on there and fit it? But apparently, and we've tested this as well, it doesn't give any problems, so there should be enough space, because the connector pretty much, well, it bridges this gap anyway, right? So it goes over here. Yeah, it's a little bit higher. Yeah, there you go. So should be possible. Thank you for your question, by the way. They're asking about the sizes of the fans. Yeah, it's all about the size, isn't it, guys? It's always about the size. Yeah, the outer ones, they're 10 centimeters, and the one in the middle is 9 centimeters. 10 centimeters or 100 millimeters, if you want to use millimeters, and this one is 90 millimeters or 9 centimeters indeed. So, what motherboard is that? Because NVMe we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Because we have a full overview. That later on. Exactly. We'll have a full overview of this build. As you can see, it's not a normal case build or something. It's more like a benchmarking setup. So it's really, also we're going to be doing some benchmarking. It's a little bit easy to show everything. You can move around the whole setup a bit easier with the camera. Yeah. There you can. It's easier to show the card, because now we can show it around. If you build it in a case, it's a lot more complicated. It's a bit more restricted. Yeah, exactly. And also in a case, the airflow is always also a bit more restricted. So basically, most reviewers actually benchmark the cards. If you read reviews for graphics cards, most of them will do their reviews like this, on a bench setup. So they won't be actually building them into the case. Some of them do. But most of them actually do it on what they call an open air benchmark situation, which is like this. So that's also why your experience may vary. So if you have like a case with bad airflow, for example, and there are cases out there. I mean, if you look at Gamers Nexus, for example, they do a really good job at analyzing this kind of thing. Your temperatures might be a lot higher than what you see in reviews, and you might be thinking, wait a minute, is my graphics card broken? Might actually not be that it's the graphics card. It might be the situation that you have no airflow or very low airflow in your case, and so the heat can't really get out. So that's always good to know. We have another question by SoulClick. Is it real carbon fiber on the fan shroud? Well, I don't know about the fan shroud. I mean, it does look real, to be honest.
I don't know. But what I do know is on the back plate, or I should say the whole back plate. I can show you that later, or maybe now. Yeah, you can.
I can. Let's see.
Try.
I can reach
We have a. Here we go. We have a limited space on the cable.
Yeah.
But as you can see, the back plate here. This is not metal. This is carbon fiber. This is actual carbon fiber.
So it's not just a print that it looks like carbon fiber.
No.
That's an actual carbon fiber backplate.
Yes. So that's one of those things that you think that's ridiculous. Yes, it is. And if you want to know why, there's a couple of like really correct answers I can give you, which are, for example, well, it has really good tensile strength and it's lighter than metal but still stronger. It's basically, this is the strongest backplate we've ever put on our graphics card.
And it's also the most advanced backplate ever.
Yeah, but I mean, one of the other answers as well is like, well, it looks nice, and because we can. And I don't think anybody's ever done it before. So this is again what I'm talking about when I say, Lightning sometimes has these experimental things that we're just testing things out, still in a very premium way, of course. But yeah, this backplate is one of the examples that we're trying something new. Maybe we'll keep using it in future generations. That's sometimes what happens with Lightning features. Or maybe this will be one of those things that we tried once and people either liked it or didn't like it, and it'll either disappear or maybe we'll just use it on premium cards because it is a bit more expensive than metal, obviously. So yeah.
Theo Yels is asking, is it 4-slot NVLink?
Pretty much, yeah, because there's the card takes 3 slots, so that means that the next available slot is indeed
in the fourth one from where you start.
Yeah. So if you want to SLI these beasts, and I mean, kudos to you if you manage to get 2 of them. There's a limited amount of Lightning. There always is of any card, pretty much, but Lightning is a little bit more exclusive. So there will be a limited amount of them available. So if you're gonna buy 2 of them, and they are also not cheap. So yeah, really nice if you have that kind of money. I'm already super stoked that I get to play with these things in the office during work hours. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to take them home, obviously, because then they would never return. You know how it goes. But yeah, I mean, these cards, if you can get 2 of them, holy crap.
Another
any other? I mean, yeah, keep questions coming, guys.
A lot of questions.
We'll
try to answer. We might not be able to answer all of them. We'll try to as many as possible. Does the carbon fiber backplate helps GPU sag so that the one part of the card is lower than the other part of the card when you build it in 2K?
I know what you're saying. It does not help the GPU sag. It helps the GPU not sag. Sorry about that. No, anyway, so indeed, the backplate is always connected on several points with the other components. Maybe I can show you a little bit better in the next slide. So maybe if you can switch to the here we go. So there's a couple of components, as you can see. The most back here is basically the backplate, and as you go, how do I point? This way. As you go forward, basically you get so the backplate from back to front, backplate, PCB. There you get what we call a form-in-one heatsink, which is basically an anti-bending measure. It's a really thick metal, black, cast iron pretty much backplate, or not a backplate, but a plate, which both helps with anti-bending, but it also helps to cool because the air hits it when it goes through the heatsink. After that it's the heatsink and then it's the cooler. So as you can see, the screws will go through the backplate. At least most of them will also go into that form-in-one heatsink, so the big, the heavy metal heatsink on the PCB. And then a couple of them will even go straight through that into the actual heatsink. So that will pretty much, I mean, you can't really, this thing is so, I'm moving the motherboard when I'm touching it right here because it...
Don't break the motherboard underneath.
No, I know, but
luckily we have steel armor.
This thing is very sturdy. So to give you the short answer, yes, this will definitely help to prevent your card from sagging. It is a very heavy card because it does have a very big cooler, but this will definitely help. Yeah.
There's another question by Doogie. Let me see. He's asking, will you guys be releasing any RTX with your custom water blocks?
Yes. I think we actually have. If you look at our website, they are called Seahawk EK because we co-work with EK, which is one of the best European, if not the best European water block manufacturer, I should say. So yeah, I mean they make the custom models actually, and we put them together in a factory. So they're called Seahawk EK. I believe we have them at least on 2080 and 2080 Ti. 2070, I'm not 100% sure, so you'd have to check. Availability is another thing entirely because as you guys know, especially on 2080 Ti, there's been a lot of shortage as well. This is something we're also not in control of, so pretty much we'll of course create as many as we can, but if we cannot get the CPUs, we're pretty much borked.
Because people are also asking how many of these will we make. That's also hard to answer, right?
Yeah,
because it's
but
very dependent on how many we can produce.
It is. So it's. I can already tell you. I can't tell you the exact number because I don't know. But what I do know is that because of also the shortage, it is 2080 Ti. So because of the shortage, it is less than last generation Lightning. So if you do want one and you're serious about it, I wouldn't want to wait too long. Availability should actually start from I believe yesterday, but it depends when the stock arrives in your country. So keep a close eye on it. There's a very limited amount of them available, sadly, and I don't know if there will be additional batches or anything. I don't know about that. So for the moment, I just know it's a very limited number available.
Cool. Oh, someone's actually using
a 1080
Seahawk EK.
They are very good cards. I mean, here's the thing. If you have a custom water loop, and actually in a couple of weeks we're going to show you guys, we have a stream about, or we're planning a stream about water cooling. So we're going to be showing you guys a little bit more about it. It will cover all-in-one water cooling solutions, like, our normal Seahawk, which basically is with a radiator attached. And we will have the Seahawk EK cards there as well, which is for what we call a custom water loop, where you have to know a little bit more what you're doing.
Because you essentially have to build your own water cooling system into your PC.
With the reservoirs and the pumps and everything. So it's not something that comes like ready to go in a box. No. You have to do a lot of the work. But we did make it a lot easier because it used to be that you have to, buy a whole card like this, and then, take the cooler off, buy separately the water block from EK, for example. You would have to then, you void your warranty by removing the block, of course, because it's, that's something you're not supposed to do. Then you would have to slap on, and do all the work and everything like that. So with the Seahawk EK, what we've done pretty much is we've said, okay, so what if we do that for you so that you can buy the card, you don't have to pay the extra cost for the cooler that you're going to remove anyway. Yeah. So it's actually cheaper than buying it separately. Plus, it's covered by warranty because we've done the mounting for you, so you don't really have the risk of damaging your card in the process. So, hope you're enjoying it. By the way, your 1080 Seahawk EKX, mate.
Because that was always a pity for the custom water cooling users.
Yeah.
Then you buy a very expensive card with a really high-end cooler on there. Yes. And then you just take it off and put a water block on there. Yeah. Like, there is no point of putting a high-end cooler on a card if you're not going to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's essentially why I started with the Seahawk EK cards.
Yeah. To make it a little bit easier, cheaper, more accessible, better. We'll be able to give you warranty on it as well, so it's a little bit better all around, I would say. Anyway,
especially a while ago, it was quite hard to find water blocks for custom PCB cards. Yeah. So if it's not the reference PCB by NVIDIA, so it's an improved custom PCB with better power delivery and stuff, but that got complicated with the water blocks for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it also took a while in between the launch of the card and when the water block for that specific model was available.
Yeah.
So with the Seahawk EK, you already have the right block for the right card. Right.
Exactly. And they're usually available pretty much at the launch of the high-end model, so or at least very soon afterwards. Because again, the EK also needs a little bit of time, obviously, to manufacture, to create the custom mold for these cards, because they're not the same as the reference, as Mike said. So this takes a little bit of time, but a few weeks after that, they should definitely always be around if they are available. Because again, we've heard a lot of complaints lately about the availability of 2080 Ti, and sadly, this is nothing that we can do anything about.
Oh, people are asking, can you turn this beast on right now?
Oh, hell yes, I can. So maybe we'll just go right to that. You can go to the detail view again if you want.
go.
So actually, because this is a custom benchmark build, I actually have to push a button on the motherboard itself. But there we go. So another feature that we can see, of course, is also the really nice brushed gold finish here. There's actually a really nice matte black I/O bracket or panel.
Yeah, bracket.
I think we'll call it bracket here as well. So this is really nice matte and black. Really complements the rest of the card. One of the features, if you've been watching the news as well, is what we call Phantom of Lightning, which is pretty much what you should be able to see on the outer two fans here. So I'm going to do a metal gesture here, just so that I can split my fingers. But so as you can see, the colors obviously are shifting a bit. But if you look closely, you'll also see that because of the speed that the LEDs basically flicker on and off, you will see either a lot or a couple of fan blades. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you guys have seen those movies where somebody is videotaping or filming a helicopter, and when you're watching the movie, it appears like the rotors aren't spinning, because pretty much the recording speed, so the frame speed, FPS, is pretty much the same as the speed that the rotors are spinning, which means that on each frame that is recorded, the rotor has the exact same position. So it looks really weird. And so we thought, that's a really cool, I think they call it persistence of vision theory, if you really want to look it up. But based on that idea, we developed that idea into this beast as well. So that's the basic idea. And you have several settings. So by default, as you can see here, it's kind of looping through, I think it's 3 settings standard. It's looping through all 3 of them. So it'll display them. It's pretty much like a demo mode. But later on, I'll show you guys in our new software, Dragon Center. What you used to, Mystic Light is included in that now. You can also customize that and set whichever setting you want to display, and also different color profiles that we've already prepared for you guys.
People are already asking for what frame rates to be expected and the power consumption, but we'll get back later to that.
Oh yeah, we're
going to run a lot of different stuff on this card later on.
Exactly, and we're going to go into that in detail. Don't worry about it.
Definitely.
So that's one of the really nice features at the front. And as you can see, indeed, you guys already mentioned it, the nice carbon fiber finish here. Like I said, I don't know at the front if it's real carbon fiber underneath. It looks real enough, but it does have a little bit of a glossy finish here. I also have to say, to be really fair, that this was an engineering sample already sent to us before the card was available. So it could be that some of the things, for example, I saw some reviews with pictures already go online where this actually wasn't, wow, I'm hitting the fan, where this actually wasn't that shiny. So it could be that they changed that just before the card was mass produced. And yes, Dragon Center is out now, SoulClick. So, but I'll show you that guys out later as well. What else can I show you guys? Well, there's a lot of really nice features. Maybe, how about you man the camera, and I'll show the guys the stuff. So
there we go.
You can already see here, this is one of the really cool features as well. Now we've got a live display. We call it dynamic dashboard, which can display a lot of different things. At the moment, it's displaying a mix of GPU temperature and frequency, as you can see, in real time. It's an OLED display, so it also doesn't use much power. I don't know. And it can also do pretty much only one color, so it's not a color display. But you can customize it, so you can put a custom animation or GIF on there to display it, which I'll show you later as well in Dragon Center. At the edge here, you can see a very nice LED effect. Later on, we'll turn the lights down low for you guys also. But as you can see, there's already, this is the default effect, kind of like a nice color loop as well. It's really, I have to say, it's kind of similar to last generation Lightning, where, that was, I think, our best implementation of RGB pretty much ever. So this is kind of like the same style, really nice, the frosty glass type. And then on the back, I don't know if you can stretch it that far.
Let me see if I can.
On the back here, you've got, so this is the carbon backplate, as you guys can see. Here's a
heat pipe on the back running across it as well. So there's the copper that you can see through it. But here you can also see these shapes also are lit by LEDs, and also with the frosted, really nice frosted glass effect. Where it becomes transparent, that's where the green color comes by. Because
that's because of the chroma key.
Yes, we're chroma keying this whole ordeal, of course. So, but you can fully customize it. I can show you guys later on. I think now we can show the back of the card as well. So we've already got a little bit. This is something you don't see on many graphics cards right here. So these 4 connectors, where one of them is actually connected right now. These 4 connectors are what we call V checkpoints. And V checkpoints are measuring points where you can put with the help of included connectors, pretty much, or how do you call them? Yeah, wiring, I guess. You can connect a multimeter like this one. I'll turn it on for you guys. And overclockers use this to get the most accurate reading of the actual voltage going into several components. So each of these points here, if you can go back to this part, each of these connectors will measure in real time the voltage going through each of the parts. So the very left one or bottom one is for the GPU core, so that's what we're measuring right now. So in idle at the moment it's using 0.727 volts. And I believe this one is for memory, this one is for PLL, and one is for another part of the card. So very technical stuff. Like I said, this is a feature. This is one of those features that are implemented just for overclockers, because if you don't overclock, you probably won't even ever touch these or need to do it. But it's kind of cool to know that it's there. And later on we'll do some benchmarks and we'll show you guys the readings on the multimeter as well, so you can see the voltage usage obviously going up when the card is actually doing its job.
Edward is asking, is it possible to disable RGB effects without software? I mean, if there is a user available connector on the PCB to unplug.
There is, but you would have to remove the cooler to do it. So we don't recommend it, but of course, yeah, it is possible. The easiest way is just to download the software. I mean, yeah, I know you asked without the software. But the easy way is
possible, but the easiest way is
through the software. And I mean, you don't have to install Mystic Light anymore, so that's the positive point. So that's why I mentioned we have one software package now. It's called Dragon Center. I'll show you guys it in a minute. And we're trying to migrate as much of the, we had so many different software packages for each feature and all kinds of different stuff. So now we're migrating them into one platform pretty much. That's called Dragon Center. And so you only have to install Dragon Center. It will detect, okay, so you have a graphics card, it has RGB, whoop-de-doo. Then, there you can just say, okay, either I want to play with it and do some effects, or you can just say, no, I just want to turn it off, and that's it. And then you never have to touch it again.
I have a question by Severage. Hi, by the way, Severage. Welcome back to the
Welcome
stream.
back.
Does it have dual BIOS?
Yes, it does, and that's actually one of the features I was going to show you next. It's a very tiny feature on the card. I mean, on the website, if you check the product page, by the way, if you want to know more about this product, the product page is already online, so you can find it on MSI.com. Just search for the Lightning, or just go to the graphics card department and click your way through there. On the website, it's a very big picture, and it shows you a switch with, I think the actual tags are original and LN2. But yes, it has a dual BIOS. The purpose of the dual BIOS is that one BIOS is pretty much backup or default. It's pretty much that if you switch to that, you can just game and it works and it's fine. That's, by the way, also the BIOS that all media reviews are testing it in. So all the results you're seeing there is with the default BIOS settings. And we also have the LN2 BIOS. And the LN2 BIOS originally is, of course, LN2 is short for liquid nitrogen, which is what's being used to do extreme overclocking. I have some pictures I can show you guys of overclockers actually doing that. Anyway, so that BIOS is, well, special in the way that it disables certain limiters, so that extreme overclockers can do things that would normally break the card if you're not careful. So that's what the LN2 BIOS is for.
And they use it to break the records.
Yeah, so they break things, and either usually I think their credo is either we
sometimes
break
the card,
or either we break this card or we break a record. Either way,
so
something's gonna break. Exactly, yeah. So I mean, yeah, this is the thing that the LN2 BIOS is for. So normally, you know, if you use this card for gaming, there's no real benefit for you to put it in LN2 mode. If you're into extreme overclocking, yeah, you know, it's one of the things you can try. Having two BIOS versions on the card has a different benefit as well, because most of the extreme overclockers will have custom BIOS files, so they will know how to edit BIOS files, and they can then flash separate versions of the BIOS, so it actually makes it easier for them to switch between them to try and break records, so it takes less time for them to do so. Or to revert back to a working BIOS if one of them fails to boot or whatever.
A question from Wong, how many kilograms?
Ooh, wow.
So what's the weight of the card?
That's a good question. Maybe I can cheat there, because I'm just gonna look it up on a website real quick. I actually don't know. It is. I think it's one of our heaviest cards.
But I don't know exactly how many grams.
It's not that much heavier than the 2080 Ti Gaming Extreme, I have to say. At least it doesn't feel that much heavier. And
that's
also
probably because the backplate is lighter.
Yeah,
because it's carbon.
Yeah, so
and
there's
carbon is lighter than a metal backplate.
Yeah, there's a little bit of carbon that's going into that. But let me see what the official statement is, because I don't want to lie to you guys. Oh, I just forgot how to type.
Always difficult.
Yeah, let's do that. Specifications. Here we go. So the official weight of the card is 1.852 grams. So
kilograms.
No.
Point.
Yeah.
So it's 1,852 grams.
Yeah. What?
You say?
Wait a minute. Yeah, that's what it says.
You said 1.852.
Yeah.
grams.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
kilograms.
Yes. Yeah. So it's sorry. It's 1.8. Pretty much 1.8 or 1.9 kilograms. So almost 2 kilos. So yeah, I mean, it is a fairly heavy card. It's not surprising because all the features that are on there, and of course the heavy heat, the big heatsink, which pretty much takes most of the weight, you know, for its account.
Yeah, it is a heavy card.
Yeah, and the whole package. So if you order the box and you want to know the shipping, you know what it weighs, it's about 4 kilograms pretty much. So that's to answer your question. Oh yeah, so maybe we can show actually where this switch is located. Let's see if we can. This camera has not that very long cable, so we're gonna have to see if we can stretch it here. Okay, let's see if we can get it to zoom. Zoom, damn you! There we go.
Yeah, it focuses now.
So this little thing right there.
You can already see if you
look
real
close. That's the BIOS switch. So it's now set to that side pretty much. And you can switch it to that side. I'm not gonna do that because then it's not gonna like it, and I'm gonna have to reboot again.
If you want to do that, turn off your PC and then. Usually,
it's best indeed if you want to switch. I don't think you have to, because I think at the moment when you do it, it doesn't really do anything right away. But if you then try and run games or go and try and overclock, it probably will be confused as hell, because it doesn't know. You know, it's not the PC is not used to having switching BIOS while running. So that's not something it's kind of meant to do. So usually if you're going to do that, it's best to indeed, just power down the PC, switch the BIOS, turn it on again, and then it should be fine. So, but it's like you can see here, this is my finger. That's the thing. It's so small. So that's pretty much the BIOS switch. So if you put it to that way, then you can see, I don't know if you guys can read this, but it says LN2 here. So that's LN2. And to that, so at the moment it's set to default BIOS. All right. Don't mind the serial number, by the way.
There we go.
Okay. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, I mean, well, maybe you guys already know this, but a graphics card like this, as you can see here, it has. Maybe from this side. As you can see here, it has 3 8-pin power connectors. That is a bit extreme, or it might seem a bit extreme, and it is for most cards, because again, if you're gaming, you probably don't even need these, this many. But this again is really down to the fact that these cards are designed to be used for extreme overclocking, and then, well, for that kind of performance, there's a rule kind of like that. Enough doesn't really exist, So it's better to then just have too much. Within reason, of course, but too much power supply or ability to
put power into this card than have too little in the end and fail your goal of breaking records.
Laurent is asking, what is the power limit by default?
I think the power limit by default is 350 watts.
So that's quite specific, right? I think it even says that if you're looking on our website, and if you go to the specifications page, there it under power consumption it says 350 watts. Doesn't mean it's always using 350 watts, of course, but pretty much that's like the ceiling within normal usage in the default BIOS settings. If you want to have higher power settings, then LN2 BIOS is the way to go. But under normal circumstances, there's really no reason to do that. And to be honest, this especially with GPU Boost 3.0 and all the systems running within the card itself by NVIDIA and by us, it will try to find the right balance anyway. You have the boost clocks and the base clocks, and the power usage kind of goes up and down with that. So it will try to find the right balance so that the power limit. So to be honest, I think I've seen power consumption shoot up to like 360 watts ish within the default BIOS. So it's a number, but it's more like an indicator. So it's not like a fixed value, like it will never go past that. That's not the case. But yeah, it won't go past that by far, if any.
Let me see if we have more. Edward is asking, will it turn on without one of the PCIe connectors attached? So one of the 8-pin connectors.
Yes and no. Yes, it will turn on. No, it will not give you any display output. So we actually had to try that because we had to shoot some video with this card, and we didn't need it to actually supply visual to a monitor, but we did want all the lights to come on and stuff like that. So indeed, if you connect the front two connectors, the lights will start blinking and the fans will start spinning and all that, but it will not give you any display output. So if you actually want to run the card and use it and boot into Windows and so that you can see stuff, you actually have to connect all three connectors.
Theo is asking, how tall is the card?
The official dimensions are it's like 33 centimeters pretty much long. It's about 14.3 centimeters tall, so that's like tall, 14.3, and it's 63 millimeters, so yeah,
a little over 6 centimeters.
A little bit over 6 centimeters thick. So that's like I said, guys, 3 slots pretty much. You can also see that pretty much on this bracket if you would mount it in your case. So you do need 3 free slots available in your case. All right.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the slides a little bit. So as you can see here, there's a lot that goes into these cards. There's a lot of detail as well. I won't bore you with most of it because it's really technical. If you do like to know more about it, you can always ask in the chat. We'll try and answer most questions if we can. There's some new stuff going on in the heatsink as well. So you guys might know on the 2080 and 2080 Ti Gaming X Trio, we use what is called a wave pattern in the heatsink. So that you can see a wavy kind of wave curve pattern in there, which is meant to break the airflow as it goes through the heatsink and reduce noise while it's doing that. This actually has a little bit of a different way of doing it, and it's called rugged edge fins, I believe. So they're like, it's a little bit more squared. Yeah, I don't really have a picture of it. I don't know if we can show it. Maybe if I stop the card again, maybe you can see it. Let's see if I can shut down the system. Oh wait, it's got some updates. That's nice. Let's not do that. Let's go straight for the shutdown. Or is it gonna do the updates anyway? Damn you, Windows! Alright, so here we go.
Updates always come when you least expect them.
Yeah, and when you don't need them. So pretty much here, let's see if we can get an angle where you can see it. Yeah, well, you can see the checkered pattern through the fins here, right? So that's pretty much what I'm talking about. I don't know if we can get closer.
So you see the little parts sticking out in the heatsink. It's kind of layered, and that's the new way that we're trying in this card. So it's like a variation of the wave curve pattern, pretty much, because the goal is the same: to break the airflow when it hits it and reduce noise, so the whooshy noise basically when it hits it, which is turbulence, but also make sure that the air kind of hangs around a little bit more in the heatsink. So the longer it hangs around in there, pretty much, it will take more heat with it. So also better cooling. The yellow strips, by the way, on the fans, if you guys are wondering, as far as I know, aesthetic reasons. And pretty much, I think this highlights or it works together with the phantom of lightning effect with the flashing of the LEDs around it. So this pretty much will reflect a little bit, obviously, differently the light compared to the other fan blades. So it's pretty much to make that effect possible. That's why we have yellow.
Ava Lerox is asking, how many RPM do the fans work at? And it's dependent on what you're going to do with it.
Yeah, so I believe that the standard, like they're running at around maybe 1,000 RPM, which is very, you know, they'll be inaudible pretty much. You can't hear them. If you really want to push it, I think they go up to like 3,500 RPM, something like this. But you know, then they'll become like.
Then you will hear them.
Yeah, leaf blow.
We can demonstrate it later.
Yeah, we can demonstrate it later. But you know, it depends. So if you really want to do some serious overclocking, or your car gets really hot, obviously you can put up the RPM. But normally, if you put it on auto, it will ramp up every now and again. But to be honest, the cooling on this card is so good. If you're not doing any crazy overclocking or
then it will be very silent.
Exactly, it will remain so silent and very cool as well.
Edward is asking, is it an updated fan from the Gaming X Trio?
No, it's pretty much the same. Yeah. I mean that
Torx
fan
3.0.
Yeah, that fan is already so good, and it's the fan of this generation. It's again an iteration, so it's the third version of the Torx fans, which started with the 900 series. I mean, this fan is really good, and it's the past generations also. The basic design has remained the same. The new thing about it this generation are the trims on the traditional fan blades, which again have, you know, a small impact to improve the airflow, the cooling, and reduce noise.
And the smaller fan on this one is a little bit larger than the smaller fan on the Gaming X Trio, because I think that's an 80 millimeter one, so 8 centimeters. So. Yeah. And here the center fan is 9 centimeters and 10 centimeters on the outside.
All right. So next, I would like to show you guys some stuff, because I was talking about extreme overclocking. So what these guys do, I have some pictures, really cool. The guys who did some overclocking and some record breaking for us, I also asked them to provide some pictures of, you know, what does that look like and how do you do it. I mean, just so you guys get some idea. So basically what they do first is they will strip the card of anything unnecessary for overclocking, for pure performance. So and because they don't use the air cooler, they will take that off. You know, they will put different cooling on there, which we'll see in a minute. The backplate they will also remove. So the card will pretty much look like this. You know, it's just bare PCB with all the really sexy components and a hell of a lot of power phases.
So now it's a lot easier also to see all of the connectors, the power connectors, and also the readout points for the...
Yeah, at the back. Yeah, exactly.
For an overclocking.
So, you know, and they also clean the card really well, because that's also very important. There's no, you know, there should be no dust there or any remnants of cooling paste on the GPU. So the GPU, as you can see, very nice and shiny. Yeah, this is very precise work. Then this happens. As you can see on the left, you could see I also have one of the multimeters here. They're called multimeters. So what they do is they will give a precise readout of different areas of the card, how much voltage is going in there, or, you know, what it's using. They need this because, especially when doing extreme overclocking, the software, because you can also read out this kind of data from software, right? But the software then becomes unreliable, because there is so much going on that for some reason there is like it doesn't display the real or the right values. So to get the right values, the only way pretty much to do that is to use...
The most precise way.
Yes, the most precise way is to use the most direct way as well, which is to read it out from the PCB, from the board itself. There is no software or anything involved with that. And extreme overclockers need this because their settings and their usage numbers and like that, this, the number it uses and their settings, it can influence whether the system will crash or not, and the tiniest of values can make a difference. So that's why they need that kind of detail in terms of the readout of how what it's using. Also at the top there you can see the temperature, which is minus 97.1. This is not Fahrenheit, guys, this is Celsius. So around minus 100 degrees Celsius.
And the good thing about using this way to read out your voltages is also that when Windows is not booted yet, you can already read out voltages.
Yeah.
So with software, you always need to be in Windows already to be able to read it out.
Correct, yeah.
And now you can also read out while booting and stuff.
Exactly.
We have some more questions. Edward is asking, so the smaller middle fan can also be controlled separately, like on the Gaming X Trio? That's a good question.
There is separate fan control. I haven't seen it. I think we still need to add some support for that, to be honest. I think at the moment, especially in Afterburner, if you change your fan speed and Dragon Center as well, I think at the moment you're just controlling everything as one. But I do know that some of these fans, indeed, I think it's the middle fan and the two outer fans are being controlled separately. So the two outer fans are linked together, I think, so those you can't control separately at all. The middle fan probably can, but at the moment we don't have support for it. Also, I mean, the benefit you get from it is very limited because the heat is being spread throughout the whole heatsink. So pretty much you want to have airflow on the whole heatsink as well. So if you're going to stop any fans, the benefit from that is there's really no benefit to it, to be honest.
JJ Castella says, looks like a custom PCB. You saw that correctly, it is a custom PCB.
It's a very custom PCB, yeah. So this one, I mean, on our gaming cards, Gaming X Trio as well, those are also custom PCBs. So what we try to do there is we always try to make sure that it has really good performance, stability, durability as well. We use different components than the reference PCB, so different. We always try at least for higher quality, and we make sure they're higher quality if possible. To be honest, reference PCB this generation as well, I think they use quite good quality components already anyway. So Nvidia is also propping up on that part as well. But we still try to make a difference there if possible. Because we want to make sure that if you want to buy one of those cards, or if you have one, they should last for a long time. It shouldn't break, it shouldn't cause any trouble. Also, sometimes it happens that some components can give, like, for example, coil whine, and other components do not. So we will also try to make the right combinations to minimize the chance of annoying things like coil whine. Doesn't always work, unfortunately, but yeah, so it's custom.
You know what time it is?
Is it time for overclocking?
It's time to pick our first giveaway winner.
Oh, even better.
So for the ones who haven't signed up yet for the giveaway, please do so.
So you can go to MSI.com, as you can see here, MSI.com/2/insider, or click on the link that Mike will also put in the chat. So it's a direct link, because sometimes for whatever reason the button doesn't show up on the landing page. So you can have a chance to win one of the Steam $20 Steam codes. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube and our Twitch for double the chance to win. And let's see who the lucky winner is.
That's a cool name. First winner of the giveaway is Waffle Apocalypse 2K17.
Nice. Waffle.
Congratulations. You won, I think it's $20 US.
$20
Steam wallet code.
Yes.
So congratulations. And if you haven't signed up yet, please do so. For the ones who cannot see the link on our webpage, I will also sometimes put it in chat on both YouTube and Twitch, so you can directly enter through the link page there.
Yes. So we'll send you the code tomorrow through email. So keep an eye on your email.
So I'll drop the link in right away again.
Yeah.
So make sure to sign up because we'll have some more winners later on in the stream.
Exactly. There are more codes to give away today, so don't miss out, guys. Right, so let's continue with some slides. So as you can see here, and like I was already pointing out, on the left, on the most top meter, you can see that's the temperature, and it's reading it correctly. It's minus 97.1 degrees Celsius. That's hella cold. And as you can see there, the effect on the right side is that you get frost buildup. They need this kind of cooling and this kind of temperature because they're pushing the card so extremely hard. If they didn't have this, the card would shut down. You know, there's like an automated safety measure built in. If the card gets too hot, it will shut down. You can start it back up again afterwards, obviously, but you know that's no good if you want to break records because you need to be able to do a benchmark. So they will use LN2 or liquid nitrogen to reach this kind of temperature. And the thing that you can see on the right there, that's on the CPU actually, but that's an LN2 pot. So that's, you know, a container pretty much that they mount. On the left side you can see maybe...
Yeah, if you look closely you can also see a pot on the GPU there.
Yeah, maybe this one's a bit different as well, but as you can see the back one with the Lucky hanging from it, that's the lightning card. And he is actually using a blowtorch to heat it back up again, because that's sometimes also needed. But as you can see, the cold is so intense, but that's actually needed because the voltages are so high that the temperatures would also be like in the hundreds of degrees if you wouldn't cool it like this. And the chips can't handle that. So this kind of ridiculous extreme performance to be able to break records, it's, you know, if you even want to have a hope of doing that, this is pretty much the only way and the best way of cooling to do it.
Connor is asking, do you have to be present to win or will you message us? Because I kind of have class. So Connor, you go to class and you can re-watch the rest of the stream later on.
Exactly.
And if you win, we will definitely send you the code.
As long as you went to the link and subscribe and make sure that you click the button that you want to participate. Don't worry about it. You can catch up on the rest of the content later on. So
definitely.
Don't miss out on class, man. Don't do it.
School is important.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, are we gonna turn into that channel? Man.
Politically correct.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's school. You have to do it. But enough about that. So extreme overclocking. It is friggin' extreme, and we even have a little bit of a movie. So this is what happens and kind of what it looks like.
So only do this if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Don't
so
just
as you can see, the benchmark is running, and he is doing the what was the readout of the temperature? That was it minus 180
or something. Yeah.
Holy crap!
Because liquid nitrogen itself is minus 196 degrees.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. 184 minus 184.
So it heats up a little bit because the heat of the GPU, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, you know, as you can see, the smoke. The thing is that liquid nitrogen, it evaporates. So that's why also they have to keep pouring it on to keep it at a stable temperature to perform. But yeah, so at these minus temperatures, you might think, holy crap, how can a GPU or any component still work at this kind of temperature? This is actually needed to keep this thing operational if you want to have extreme performance. And by that I mean like this probably is using north of 500 or 600 watts, maybe. I don't know. It goes really up really quick, maybe even more.
It to the limit.
Yeah, maybe even more. So this is ridiculous amounts of power going into it. So yeah, it's required to cool it like this. And also you can see there's a lot of things that they've done to cover up the motherboard and the graphics card itself with like, well, paper towels or something like that. Yeah, because why they do that is because there's condensation and there's like ice forming on the sides of the pot and also on the card itself. You could see that on one of the pictures. Let's see. Well, pretty much where Lucky is hanging, you can see pretty much the whole card there. The PCB
frozen.
Is covered in ice. It's frozen, and that's water as well. And water can conduct electricity. So what they will do is they will try to cover up everything. Sometimes they even use what's it called, Vaseline and stuff like that, like an oily substance to make sure that the water actually doesn't connect with PCB or any of the traces, because you can short out your setup if you don't do this.
So that's why it's also very important to isolate the card if you're going to do this. Yeah. You cannot just put the LN2 pot on there and throw it in, because then you will get problems.
Yeah. So it's a very overclocking is not that hard anymore, like basic overclocking, but if you want to get into this, I mean, that's like, it's like
next level.
It's next level, but it's like science as well. And also, like I said, the readouts and all the different little things, how the card works, how it interacts, which kind of processes are active in terms of balancing power and whatever. You know, these guys have a lot of knowledge. It's and it takes years to gather that, you know, knowledge to do this. I don't know if you guys all watch the YouTube, you know, Gamers Nexus and Jay's 2 Cents. I've also kind of really been enjoying that they're trying this race to overclock and, you know, beat each other's scores. Rip Jay and Rip Gamers Nexus or something like that. You know, but if you follow that and they go into more extreme methods of cooling and overclocking as we go along, because they want to, you know, get a higher score. But there you can also see the crazy lengths they have to go to, and they're still trying to figure out, even when they invite people like Kingpin or whatever, you know, like these professional overclockers, and they're still trying to struggle. These guys are just trying to explain all the knowledge and drop it on them, and they're still like, wait, what? Because it's so complicated if you really want to get to that level. But it's really cool. I mean, you know, respect to these guys. So yeah. That was pretty much the end of the slides. What I wanted to show you guys there. We're not going to go quite into that much extreme overclocking here today. So we're going to keep it a little bit basic. Before we get into overclocking, I'm also going to show you a little bit of the sexy RGB effects, of course. Because, you know, pretty sure some of you came here just for that. So let's see if
going
we can
full
do
unicorn.
That. We're going full blown unicorn. Hell yeah! Of course, man. Of course. Okay, so let's shut this thing down. Okay, so maybe you can go to the maybe to the full capture first, yeah, because I first want to show, you know, you guys. This is the desktop, obviously. It's nice that some of the parts are being blocked by some of the graphics. Doesn't matter, nothing important there. As you can see here, Dragon Center. So this is the software package that we have at the moment, or the new software package, pretty much. It's still very much being developed, so it's not perfect yet. Again, the goal of Dragon Center is to move everything, or as much as possible, software packages into one platform. The latest thing that has been added there, and this has really been done, I think, only a couple of days or weeks ago, that Mystic Light, so our software to control all the blinky RGB lights, of course, has been moved or migrated into Dragon Center. So as you can see already, it's right there. Dragon Center itself is a really, well, we try to keep it basic in the setup, so there are some things you can do here with performance profiles, kind of like the gaming app that you guys might have used in the past. So this is, you know, kind of like the gaming app functionality here. You can even do custom profiles here as well. So that's kind of cool. So you get a couple of predefined profiles in here. You can actually do quite a bit of, you know, detailed settings for your system, both motherboard and graphics card. RAM, you know, there's a CPU fans, you know, your case fans, so a lot of things you can actually do right from this program. Pretty cool. Other things is, for example, hardware monitor. I mean, we've got a very ridiculous high-end motherboard on here as well, so there's a lot of options, and also the graphics card. So if I would click, everything is enabled. If I would click this, you get, it's like, the idea is you get a widget, so you can have like a quick overview of whatever live information you want. But I mean, this widget is kind of like, yeah, it's too big because there's too much data. But anyway, so the idea is clear, I think. So also quite a nice feature, so you guys can keep an eye on it if you want. iRest, you probably know if you ever used gaming app, it's also a feature that was on there. So it's kind of a few presets where you can just, you know, you can switch to different color modes. You can see it on the screen now, by the way, also. So iRest obviously takes out blue light as much as possible for the night. You know, more vibrancy. There's all kinds of different settings and customized settings, of course. We're just going to leave it at default, obviously. LAN Manager, which is something which also pretty much always provided with our motherboards. So this is also, it used to be a separate program. Now it's included here as well. It's something, if you have a system, you have an MSI motherboard, it's something that you can always use. So basically it just enables you to set priority, monitor usage, whatever is using your internet, set limits, you know, all this kind of good stuff. So it gives you a lot of control over your LAN connection. The big G here, the big G, that's the big G. It's the gaming button. So basically what this does is, some people who are not too technical probably don't know that there are some settings in the PC that can still be put to, for example, high performance, when the PC itself is still put in balanced or whatever. So what we've done here is we've put just one button, and if you press it, everything will be, the system will pretty much just be put in optimum gaming and performance mode. So all the settings, it just goes through all the settings on your PC and makes sure that nothing can interfere with your gaming experience. That's the goal of the gaming mode. So also pretty nice.
The big G.
The big G. And here's the thing we're gonna be talking about today. So Mystic Light. So as you can see, it's detecting multiple things. It will detect things that are compatible with the program by itself once you start it. So as you can see, the motherboard, which is the MEG X299 Creation. It's again a ridiculously high-end motherboard. It's really freaking nice. Also has really nice RGB effects. As you can see, you can address them separately. Also the connectors.
Yeah, you can see all the headers on there.
Yeah.
There are a lot on this motherboard. So
There
for
are.
all different kinds of RGB devices that you want to connect to the motherboard,
Yeah.
you can also adjust them through Mystic Light.
Yeah. So as you can see, you can address them individually, or say select all, so you can kind of link it together. And you can then say, go through all the effects, which are listed here, quite a list as well. And for all the components you have here, you can also say, okay, I want to sync them all together, so they're linked, and then you can just, select effects, and they will be applied to all of them.
Connor is still in chat. Connor, you should be in class now.
Dude, I thought we had an agreement.
You can watch it back later. Now you go to class.
Exactly. We don't want to be the cause that you blame it on us, dude.
Like, and if you pay really close attention to class, then you might be able to buy these kind of cards in the near future.
Well, there'll be like new lightning cards by then, but you get
future
the idea.
generation lightning.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, you can address them separately. Also, we've got the Vigor GK80 here connected, and I've got the mouse, which is the GM70 clutch. But focusing on the graphics card. So a couple of things. You can see this is a little bit different than the other overviews. It has a couple of dedicated buttons. One, it says Phantom of Lightning. That's of course the effect. Maybe you can go to the detailed cam as well. That's of course the effect we showed you earlier with the fan speeds, and we've got some color modes as well. So
Shall I switch off the lights?
Yeah, let's do that. Make it a little bit more. Set the scene. Let's put it that way. Set the scene. All right.
Good.
So there we go. So it's a little bit more clear. Maybe you can also. Oh no, that's later on, where you can lift the cam so you can see the backplate.
I'll show it later on.
So I've got a few preset profiles as well. You can see this one I think is called Glory Red. You click it and then you get a preview in the program. By the way, you see on the left bottom, but it doesn't actually do it on the card until you press apply. So when you press apply, there you go. This is a nice red preset. There's a gold one, of course, to go with the theme of the card. I think this one looks pretty nice. Ocean blue. There's one green there that I'm skipping because green screen.
It will be invisible.
Exactly. Purple and RGB, of course. So some presets there. Yeah, you can of course always turn it off, like so. If you don't like it, there you go. So yeah, a lot of effects there. Steady as well if you don't like it to be blinky and stuff, and you can just change the color. Like, okay, I just want it yellow like this. It's nice. Fits the design of the card. So that's Phantom of Lightning, and if you have it on, let's see, I think any effect? Yeah, any effect other than off. Obviously.
Connor's class hasn't started yet.
Oh,
he says, but yeah, I want to make big bucks one day to buy all the good hardware.
Good. But yeah, so here you can pretty much set some of the speed. So there's 0, which is this. I think this actually doesn't show too much. And if I change it to 7, you can see that the effect changes. See that? So you can kind of, the fans appear to be spinning slower, or there's at least a visual effect there. And if I put it on 14, which is the other value, this is the effect. So, you can, if you like one better than the other, you can put that one on. Pretty much
Overclocks is asking, what problem do you have with green? We're currently in a studio, so we're using a green screen with chroma key. So if we're displaying green, it will appear invisible. It
will be see-through.
Yeah.
It becomes transparent.
Exactly.
So that's we don't really have a problem with green. Green is a nice color.
Yeah, looks cool in RGB.
Yeah, can't have RGB without the green.
Without the big G.
Yeah, exactly. Big G. Yeah, so some nice effects there for you guys. So that's Phantom of Lightning, so a lot of things you can do there. Then we go on to the dynamic dashboard, which is a second option. Maybe you can switch back to that. This my capture is a little bit bigger again. It should be that one. Yeah, there we go.
I can also show the system specifications on top.
Oh yeah, there we go. So this is the full system specs.
Yeah.
We're using a CM, or Cooler Master, that stands for test bench. The CPU we're using is an Intel Core i9-9960X, which is really freaking high end, guys. It's 16 core. Yeah. It is running on stock speeds, because sadly we didn't have enough power supply connectors. This motherboard needs 3 8-pin connectors, and then the graphics card needs 3 8-pin connectors as well. So
if you really want to overclock with everything, you need a really, really, really beefy power supply.
Well, that, or just bring a second one. And I should have thought of because that was actually maybe a good option. We could have done that. Anyway.
But already the CPU runs with a boost up to 4.4 gigahertz.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
16 cores, 32 threads, so should be fine.
Exactly. It's not like it's really like bad or anything. It just this is like stock, like bottom speed.
It's an acceptable CPU.
Exactly. Yeah. But there's nothing special going on in this rig anyway. So if later on we're doing benchmarks, the CPU benchmarks are like stock.
Getting a question in Twitch: what kind of performance increase should I expect from that GPU over my GTX 1080 Gaming X?
What kind of performance increase? I think it's like
that's quite a lot. It's a regular 1080, not a TI.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's more than 2 times, I would say.
Yeah. I think
in regular games.
Yeah,
I mean, and plus
yeah.
your 1080 can't do ray tracing.
That too.
So this card actually, you know, if you want to enjoy the ray tracing and really like Battlefield 5 at 1080p with ray tracing enabled, everything on the highest settings, you still get like 80 FPS or something. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, if you have this GPU, but you know, an RTX 2080 Ti in general compared to a 1080, yeah, you're looking at a really big jump, really big. So that's like almost, you know, it's minimum twice the performance, minimum, I would say. Well, at least in games that are GPU intensive. So if you're playing League of Legends, Dota, or CS:GO,
like
yeah, you
many
probably
esports titles,
yeah, you probably won't
very
notice that much difference because they're not limited by your GPU.
And you will already run them easily on a 1080.
Yeah, so if you want to get more FPS in those kind of games, you're probably better off getting a higher end or a faster CPU. That will be much more important and will have a much bigger impact for those kind of games. Alright, so we've covered the Phantom of Lightning. Now comes the dynamic dashboard, which is the OLED display. So as you can see here, before we go into the detailed view, I got a few options here. So one is dragon animation. I'll show you guys that later. Well, actually, I think I can maybe show you if I... Yeah, there we go. I don't know if that's clear, but it's like you can see Lucky, our dragon. You know, there's an animation with Lucky there coming out of a door, waking up and saying game on, you know. So it will trigger on certain things. If you're gaming, for example, it will say game on, things like that. Lightning, which, is it gonna work? Hello, lightning. There we go. Which displays, you know, the lightning logo, the jet plane, with some lightning effects there as well. But if you don't want an animation and you just want to have real-time statistics, you can display the fan speed, you can display GPU temperature, frequency, GPU frequency, and memory usage. So these are more technical things you can monitor. Or you can even upload a custom picture. So yeah, you can upload it through this app. When you click on the eye for information, it will tell you it should be a GIF file, GIF. Don't know if that argument.
Big GIF.
I don't know if that argument has been settled yet. It shows you the dimensions in pixels, obviously, the DPI and the size it should be. So you know, that's and then you can create your own custom animations or custom pictures to put on there. So what I'll do now is I will change some of them, and then if you put the camera on it, you can actually, you guys
switch
can.
to this one, so it'll be easier to see.
We'll start with the dragon animation. So there you see Lucky is kind of waking up, and I think because it's idling, it's not really doing anything. Lucky is like sleeping, like, hey, you gonna do something today? Here we go, game on. Then gonna switch to the lightning animation. Here you go. So obviously if you get a lightning, you might want to put it on display because you should be proud of it. But if you want some more detailed information, it's fan speed, for example. And there's GPU temperature, which as you can see, 38 degrees at the moment. GPU frequency, it's idling.
On the camera you can see some flickering, but I can guarantee you that you don't see that in real life. That's because of the frequency of the camera.
Yes, exactly. And there's the memory usage. And also you can select multiple at the same time, so I'll do that now. I'll select fan speed, GPU temperature and frequency, and what it'll do then is it will just cycle through them. Here we go, temperature and frequency. So you know it will cycle through them, so you can keep an eye on all of them. Or you can simply, if you don't like it, you can disable it like this and it's off. So a lot of things you can do there. And then we get to the really nice RGB strip on the side here and on the back. So maybe you can keep it on this side, maybe. And I can show you guys. Let's see. This is the default animation. Of course, you can turn it off. There we go. Or there's standard like rainbow effect. There's color fusion, I think this one's called, so the colors kind of collide in the middle and move into each other. One I really like as well is this. This one is called lightning. I guess you guys can see why. But it's really cool, it just shows some flashes like lightning kind of. Or lightning.
If you have a lightning, you might as well show lightning on.
Exactly. So this one cycles through color while also doing a lightning-y effect. So there's a lot of things you can do here. Yeah. Even the more simple ones like a breathing effect, and then you can just change the color. One really cool thing I also want to highlight is that when, let's do lightning strike. You can change the speed of the effect. So let me this was the fastest setting. Let me just turn it to the slowest one right now. So you should be able to see that the changing of the colors and the effect itself is a little bit slower. But also you can change the brightness, because for example, if you're in a dark room and it's way too bright. By the way, the color was green right there. That's why you couldn't see it very well. But if you were in a dark room and the light is too bright for you guys, you can just tone down. There you go. So there's even I think 5 different brightness settings. As you probably can see my mouse moving in the left bottom. So this is like the lowest one. I'll go to the middle one now. So as you can see, the light goes a little bit more bright, and then the brightest setting. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can play around with. And obviously, in some effects, you can't really change the color customization, and in some effects you can. So when I'm going to whirling, for example, and I'm enabling that, I can just say, look, I want yellow. Here you go. And then you get this, or more green. Probably choosing the worst color again because of the chroma key, like blue, for example. Anyway, so yeah, a lot of different things here. So there's separate controls. When we get back to it, there's separate controls for Phantom of Lightning, which is on the front with the 2 fans. There is an effect for the dynamic display, the dashboard, the dynamic dashboard, so you can display whatever you want. And there is a separate controls for the rest of the effects. Or you can just say, look, I want them all linked together, and I want them all to do a rainbow profile, whatever. Here we go. And then everything should be adapting a rainbow profile. So as you can see, also
the heatsink on the motherboard now.
Exactly. So here the motherboard is also doing a rainbow, and my keyboard is doing a rainbow, and my mouse is doing a rainbow. thing. So yeah, so everything is linked together, and that's what we call Mystic Light Sync. You know, it's synchronized together. So pretty cool. And this software will only get more advanced. You know, we'll keep developing it. So yeah.
Camera has a hard time focusing.
yeah. But you can customize a lot of things there. All right. I think we showed that. Any questions about Mystic Light or?
Let me see. I was
effects?
holding the camera. So
Yeah.
I'm
Should
a
I
little
turn the
bit
lights
behind
back
on
on?
chat. Let's see.
Should I turn the lights back on?
Yeah, we can turn it back on.
Here we go.
Whew! Edward is saying cool feature. Why not? But in closed PC cases, doesn't make any sense, unfortunately. Depends on the case. And also, a lot of people will not use a lighting in a PC case.
Yeah, indeed. If you're really into overclocking, you'll probably use it on a bench or in the pictures like we showed you guys earlier.
Or in very exotic PC cases.
Yeah. So yeah, you can switch to that view if you want. So either you will use it in a different setup or a very exotic PC setup, like Mike said, or yeah, at the very least a very big case, because it's a big card as well. So yeah, you're not very likely to use it in a small form factor build, or you know, an ITX case or something like that, or something.
Maybe some certain ITX cases might be able to fit it, but
yeah,
most will be quite difficult.
Exception.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's also not really what it's meant for. And I mean, come on, if you're gonna put it in a closed case, are you really gonna buy a card like this?
Alan was asking how long was it in centimeters. I think it was 32, 33?
The
like
length. No, it was like, let's see if I can open it up again. I don't know these numbers, like, by heart. I'll just, I think it was like 38 or something.
Yeah, that long?
Wow.
I thought it was a little under 33.
Oh, no, actually, yeah, you're right. So almost 33, sorry about that. Yeah, so almost 33, a little bit shorter.
328 millimeters.
32.8. 32.8. Yeah. But it is, you know, it is relatively long. If you have an older case, then you might have problems, because usually then they would have like a stack of, you know, for hard drives and optical drives. So
a lot of people are asking about the price, but that's also very dependent on region and availability, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at least $1,500 or $1,600, but probably more.
US dollars.
Yeah, US dollars, but probably more, depending on availability, on VAT, you know, local tax rules, stuff like that. So really unpredictable for us to be able to give you an exact number. Best thing we can tell you is, you know, keep an eye on your local shops. Probably the bigger shops will have the best chance of selling these cards, or having at least some of these cards, and they will tell you the price. I mean, that's the best thing we can tell you.
Serenity Shot says 33 centimeters, and my case has a max length of 38. I'm safe. So then buy it.
You're good to go.
Good to go.
Another thing you guys might want to take into account is also the power supply, because you want to make sure with a card like this that your power supply can handle it. Obviously, if you're running it in stock configuration, it shouldn't draw, the card itself shouldn't draw much more than 350 watts. Yeah. But to be sure, we are advising to have at least a 650 watt power supply.
But that's of course also dependent on what configuration you're using.
Yeah.
So if you're using very high-end power-consuming CPU, then you might
overclocking
want to have,
it like hell, you know.
Then you want to have a stronger
Yeah.
power supply.
Yeah.
If you're using quite an efficient CPU, or maybe a lower-end CPU, which would be maybe a little bit strange combination with this graphics card.
Yeah, because you're probably bottlenecking it then.
Yeah.
But, you know. So indeed, you know, make sure that your power, if you want to have one of these cards, or an RTX 2080 Ti at all, because these cards do use quite a bit of power. You know, make sure your power supply can handle it, because, you know, it's never fun when you have to find out that you bought this card and they are expensive, and your power supply can't cut it. So you have to
Toby
get
Gamer is asking, can it sync with my InWin 301 MSI Dragon case?
Wow, that's specific.
I think on our website, if you look up Mystic Light, you can see the different brands that we're cooperating with, and it supports quite a lot of different RGB enabled components from other manufacturers as well.
Yeah. I think InWin is one of them, but I can't be 100% sure, so you'd have to check it.
Yeah. Check our website, and there you might be able to find the answer.
Yeah. There's a lot of, big, at least most of the big manufacturers are supported. Yeah.
Stanislav's asking, how can I put this card in my MSI MAG pylon vertically? I'm not sure if you can fit this one vertically because it's so thick.
Yeah, it's like it's maybe too deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
so you will be able to fit it, but you might need to use the regular old-fashioned way.
Yeah. I mean, again, guys, this card is a little bit. It's an over-the-top model, It's the most luxurious, ridiculous kind of model you can buy, and also, it's got ridiculous performance to go with it. So, yeah, it's normal.
Comes with the size.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you can expect ridiculous proportions as well. So it's big. It's massive. It is.
Shall we pick another winner?
I think it's good time to do that.
So, if you haven't signed up yet, please do so. You can go to msi.com/2/insider. If you cannot see the link there, I will also post it directly in the YouTube and in the Twitch chat.
Yes. So you can go there directly and just subscribe, or make sure you click the button and say, okay, I want to participate. If you haven't already, make sure you like our Twitch and YouTube channels, because it gives you double the amount of chance to win. And if you have already, nice. And I hope you win. So we have an automated script that will draw the winner. So there's no favoritism or anything involved. It's completely random.
We have another winner.
Next
winner is Denislav Ivanov. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, but congratulations. You won a $20 Steam wallet code.
Congratulations. We'll send it to you in the mail tomorrow. So yeah.
And make sure to sign up if you haven't done so yet, because
we've got more to give away, guys. So there's still chance to win a Steam code today. So make sure you subscribe. All right. So what do you say we do some actual benchmarking and overclocking?
Sounds good.
Are we ready for that? Can we handle that? Can our power supply handle that?
is asking, do you know if NVIDIA will support 970 for the G-Sync compatible? I don't know if they will, but at the moment
no.
they're only supporting 10 and 20 series.
Yeah. Yeah, as far as we know, the official information, let's put it that way, is that the GTX 10 and RTX 20 series are supported. I don't know if they will support 900 or older series.
Yeah, we don't know.
So we'll have to wait and see. But it could be. It's always worth checking out, because who knows? They don't officially support it, but if you go and check it, it might work. I don't know. It sometimes works that way. It's weird, but you can always check it.
So let's put it to the test.
Let's
moment of truth.
Let's do something with it. Yeah. So I got something special for you guys. So at the moment we're running in the default BIOS. So what I'll do is I will flash up Afterburner, of course, the program for overclocking. I've got a little bit of a special version of Afterburner, which is called Afterburner Extreme.
And you also need to activate your Windows.
Yeah, well, this build we just put together for this stream, so there's no real point in
installing and uninstalling a lot of systems.
Exactly. Anyway, so this is a special version of Afterburner, because this is the Afterburner Extreme, and it has also a unique feature that is only capable or possible on the Lightning, which is called quadruple overvoltage. So normally you will have these sliders pretty much in any version of Afterburner. This will give you a core voltage. It will give you a percentage, and you can just drag it to 100%, and that's it. Here though, you can see there's a little bit of an arrow below it, which means that I have more options. So here you can see I have actually 4, that's why it's called quad or quadruple overvoltage. I have 4 different things I can control, and these are the same things pretty much that we showed you on the back of the card with the connectors, where you can measure the voltages. So I have core voltage, which is of course the GPU itself, memory voltage, so I can control, do I need more or less voltage to the memory chips themselves, because you're also overclocking the memory, auxiliary voltage and auxiliary 2. So one of these I think is like PLL and the other is PCIe or something like this. Anyway, This is down to, auxiliary also means, other things on the PCB. So the PCIe, for example, is the slot where you connect it to the motherboard. That one also, it draws power from the motherboard. So you can mess with that a little bit. And the PLL, I'm not 100% sure what that does. Actually, I'm not an extreme overclocker, guys, but I know the basics.
People are asking if you can throw open GPU-Z.
This is not the basics, this is already quite advanced. Yes, I can, because I've got it here for a reason. So what is there anything specific you guys want to see that you're looking for? So as you can see, it's a 2080 Ti, TU102, revision A1, that's normal. It's of course MSI. Yeah, I've got a little bit of a
Roram's asking, is it possible to see the power limit in GPU-Z?
I don't think you can read it out actually.
I don't think
There's a different way to read it out. And like I said, the normal power limit on these cards on the default BIOS, which is on right now, should be 350 watts. So what you can read out is within the sensors, of course, is power usage, for example. So what we can do, or power consumption, I should say. So I've already set it to display the max value it measures. So if we run benchmarks, we should be able to go back and see what the maximum amount of power was that it draws. And like I said, I think I've seen a little bit over 350. Because there's like peaks and dips, so it can be that at some peak it measures a little bit higher. Also, the question is, how accurate is this? Because again, we've been talking about this. There's a reason why overclockers use this kind of thing, like a multimeter, instead of just focusing on the software. It's not always 100% accurate. Also because of the polling rate, I believe the software checks every second. So there's a whole second in between the moments it actually checks the voltage, and if that's like in the middle of a spike, it will say, oh wow, the voltage is that high, where in average it's much lower, for example. Anyway, so I'll leave that open for you guys so we can see it later on. So yeah, Afterburner, we've got a lot of videos about that, how to overclock. The latest version of Afterburner on the left side have the OC scanner button here as well, so when you open that, you can do OC scanner. I've done that as well. I'm not going to do that on this card. It takes too much time anyway. So what I'll do is I will just run a normal benchmark on default settings. But I have to tell you, I think I've kind of cheated already, because I think these clock speeds are already quite high for idling. Because what I did also, and I shouldn't actually do that right now, but maybe it's because I've got the Afterburner Extreme version that it also already puts a little bit higher values, or it forces it to work on higher clock speeds. Can be. But I've also got a secret BIOS, VBIOS on the LN2. So I've got my hands on a custom BIOS, and we're going to try that later on as well.
Toby Gamer is asking, is there a water block coming out if you want to water cool it later?
For the Lightning?
For the Lightning?
Not that I know. And the reason is quite simple. It takes a lot of time and money to create these blocks for companies like EK. So they will probably do it for the models where they expect they can sell the most, because they have to earn back the money that they spend to make the block,
so that's
to develop
the more traditional models usually.
Yeah.
And this is more for extreme overclocking.
Not just that, but also this card will be sold in a very limited amount. So even if everybody who buys a Lightning card will buy one of those blocks, maybe they can earn back the money that it costs to develop one of these things, but it's very unlikely. So, and to be honest, I don't think that many people will buy, full cover water blocks for a Lightning card. So, because either most people will probably use it out of the box with the air cooling, or if they're going for extreme overclocking, they won't bother with water cooling.
They'll use dry ice, liquid nitrogen,
exactly.
Those kinds of
so they will skip water cooling altogether. Anyway, so again, I will also have a look at the custom LN2 BIOS that I've put on this card as well. I'll just put 3D Mark to the test. Also, I've enabled some OSD features, so you can see on the screen things like temperature, clock speeds, stuff like that. So I'll just do regular time spy. I'll run it, and let's see how it goes. And then later on, after the benchmark is run, we can also see, well, obviously we can see the score, but we can also see the power usage, for example, during the benchmark. We can look back. So if you have any questions, I mean, this benchmark will just run. It'll take a few minutes. We'll leave it on the screen so you guys can see it. You can also see the temperatures and everything in real time. Maybe you can remove the system specs because they're right in front of the statistics. There we go. So on the right side there, you can see the statistics in real time.
Edward is asking, 68 watts idle, a bit high, no? I think that's also because of the software that we're currently using.
Yeah.
Unlike
it forces it won't let it trigger back or
automatically adjust to lower values.
Exactly. By the way, we can already see on the multimeter here. I don't know. Yeah, you guys.
I think if we can go here, then I should still be able to see.
So you can see it was 0.7 something, and now it's 1.15, for example. That's already so it's using a lot more voltage already during the benchmark. Because these are connected into the back of the card, so we're measuring it in real time. As you can see, the frame rate really nice. Also, it's DirectX 12. Obviously, this test. That's also why we're using it.
Frank says, regular time spy on 2080 Ti. Please use time spy extreme. We will.
Sure, we can do that after this.
We will run several benchmarks.
Yeah,
so different settings.
Yeah. But we want to draw your attention also to the GPU temperature, the usage percentage, and the clock speeds, obviously.
Yeah. Wong is asking if we're going to test it with Battlefield 5.
Yeah, I've got it installed. So what I'll do, I'll first see if we can overclock it a fair bit, and then I also want to show you guys that actually, when you overclock this card, you can still, barring the extreme stuff, but a good overclock, and you can still also use it in games and have a nice boost in that. So we'll see how it performs in Battlefield 5 indeed, with ray tracing, so we can see that. Keep in mind though that this is 1080p, because that's what our capture card is limited to, so yeah.
Serenity Shots is asking, why is there only a limited amount of this card? Any specific reason you could tell?
Couple of reasons. One, honestly, it's so ridiculous and so expensive also that we really don't think that many people will buy it. I mean,
it's over the top for most people.
It is really over the top. Secondly, there is shortage on 2080 Ti GPUs, so we also have to make the regular models, but our other custom models. So we have to make gaming X trials, we have to make Dukes, we have to make Ventus cards. So there's only a limited amount available, and we have to choose which models we want to manufacture, and we have to divide them across all the models, because you can't just say, all right, so now we're going to focus fully on Lightning and the other cards just won't be available. That's not an option.
Very good question by Toby Gamer.
Yes.
Will it run Crysis?
Sadly, I don't have that installed, but I'm pretty friggin' sure that yes, it will run Crysis.
ST61 is asking, what resolution do you use on benchmark right now?
At the moment, I'm using 1080p, but that's only because that is what our capture card is running at. So I could do 4040p, but there's really no point in terms of you wouldn't be able to see it.
Yeah, we cannot capture it.
Yeah. So alright, pretty nice score. I think if we can validate and compare already online. Let's see what it says. So it's better than 98% of all results registered in 3D Mark. There you go. And that's including a CPU test, by the way, with a CPU that is completely stock. It's quite a high-end CPU, but still, it's not overclocked at all. So, yeah, not bad at all. So really, the graphics card is carrying. Score. Yeah, the graphics card is carrying the score here. So we are now part of the 2%, guys. We are now part of the 2%. We are 2%ers. That's all right. So we got a request also to do Time Spy Extreme. But before we do that, we can already look in GPU-Z for the usage numbers. So here we see power consumption. So see the peak value. I don't know if you guys can see this. It might be a little bit small, but it's 356.9 watts. So it's pretty much 357 watts. So like I said, just a little bit over 350. but that's like a peak. You know, it really goes in peaks and valleys. It goes up and down constantly. The voltage it was using, actually we read out a bit higher than this. So this is also why you use a multimeter instead of software, because which one which one is accurate? I'm pretty sure that the multimeter, measuring it directly from the board, is the most accurate way of doing it. So there's always a bit of a difference between what software is displaying in terms of voltages and the actual voltages running through it. And CPU temperature, that's CPU. GPU temperature I wanted to display. Here we go. So GPU temperature, and this is on stock fan speeds. I think we can even see the fan speeds. It went up to 40% at like most, and that was like 1500 RPM. You can hear it a little bit, but barely. And then the top temperature was 69 degrees. So that was during the benchmark.
So that's still a very good temperature.
Yeah, I mean anything under for graphics card, I think it's like anything under 90 degrees is fine. I think at 80 degrees usually the GPU will start throttling a little bit. It will start decreasing clock speeds by itself. That's an NVIDIA GPU boost thing. So to protect itself, obviously, because it will say, well, 80 degrees is not that good. But it's still fine. Anything under 90 degrees should still be fine. But you won't reach that. You simply won't. And it's actually quite warm here. So, because we've actually, it's cold here in the Netherlands where we are now. It's been snowing and stuff like that. It's freezing outside. So we actually put up the temperature. The room temperature is
23
like
degrees
23,
Celsius.
probably 24, because we're doing benchmarking and stuff here. Because I actually feel a little bit of cold air coming down now. So I think the air conditioning is trying to cool us. All right, so let's see let's do a little bit of overclocking as well. I think the numbers, normally this is a process that takes a long time, or it's probably, for most people it will, because you try small increments, you try and add like 10, 15 or 5 megahertz every time, test it, see if it's stable, then increase more until you reach a point where it crashes or something, and then you kind of discover, okay, so that's the limit. If you're doing extreme overclocking, that means that either you need to lower the temperature or you need to adjust voltages or something like that. But that's like the advanced overclocking. Right now we're just going to do a little bit of quick and dirty. And I know a lot of people that kind of cringe when you combine the words overclocking and quick and dirty. But there's some values that you can do. So core clock, we're going to do 100 megahertz on top, and we're going to do 1200 megahertz on the memory. The memory can overclock quite high, I have to say. And then you can apply it by just saying apply. We're going to also raise the power limit and the temperature. I don't think it will apply it right away. No, it won't. This is just giving it extra space, so that the GPU has a little bit more space, like 8%, and I think was it 4 degrees more, 84 to 88 degrees, before it starts thermal throttling, stuff like that. Actually, the memory clock didn't stick, as I noticed. Why? Here we go. And then the fan speed will still keep at auto, because that's fine for now.
Maybe we can also show the voltage of the card when we start the benchmark. So you can actually see it jumping up when it's under load.
You want to do it with this?
Yeah. We can just put it in here. There we go.
Yeah, so you guys can see on the bottom left. Okay, so this time I'm gonna do times by extreme, and just gonna click run. So this is the overclocked lightning at the moment with 100 megahertz on the GPU and 1200 megahertz added on the memory. So it's still loading the benchmark. This always takes a little while, guys. This is normal. Here we go. Benchmark's loading. Still loading. So that you can see the voltage actually isn't changing that much yet. And now we're about to start the benchmark.
There it starts, and you see it jumping up.
There you go. And as you can see, it's constantly fluctuating. So that's what we mean with the software as well. You know, it just depends. Also, this multimeter, it also has a certain interval at which it measures it, but it's quite fast as well. So the fluctuations, it will catch. And if, yeah, you can switch to the main view now again, so you can see. As you can see, the GPU temperature is about 68 degrees, 67, 99% usage. 2040 megahertz on a 2080 Ti, guys. Not even breaking a sweat. And the memory, 82,000. That was 7,000 megahertz just before in the previous run. Now it's 8,200 megahertz.
The Blue Spartans is asking, when is the RX 3080 coming out?
What? The RX?
3080.
The RX?
RX.
So that's like a Radeon card.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Is that what you mean? Or did you forget a T there somewhere?
Yeah. Sounds like a combination of Radeon GeForce.
Yeah. Do you know something we don't? Do they have plans to merge, or
want to know.
You know, is there something we're missing? No, we don't. We have no idea. I mean, here's the thing. We know that Radeon 7, for example, because it's been announced, but very usually because the competition between Nvidia and AMD is actually quite fierce. So they will try to keep the information and their plans close to the vest as much as possible. So that means that we usually also find out about new product launches. 20 series was a perfect example as well, and Radeon 7. We didn't know before they publicly announced it. So we find out pretty much the same exact moment that you find out, which is through the official presentations from Nvidia and AMD. And then, you know, for us it's like running like hell to get everything done and fixed, and developing custom models, and, you know, doing our job basically.
So we already have some stuff ready. So we're always trying to improve cooling and stuff. So that's all set, ready for the next generation.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're always trying to improve,
yeah.
You know, finding ways to improve cooling, or you know, trying new things. So some of the things we have kind of shelved for new, you know, ready to implement, or new models, on when a new model comes. And then it's still a matter of, can be that it's, for example, a really expensive thing, and then, you know, you get a lower end model or a mid-range model, and then, you know, we can decide not to implement it because that would make that model too expensive. You know, it could like double the price of the card. That's ridiculous, obviously, so we won't do that. So it's always, you know, finding a good mix and finding a good balance.
Trying to find a sweet
how
spot.
How can we give you a great product with the best performance that we can give you, really great cooling. With the more higher end models, can we give you a bit of more, even premium features added on with that, some cool things that we can try. But can we also do it for a reasonable price? You know, that's always the question, because everybody wants the best possible product for the lowest possible price. And that's difficult, because really good products like the Lightning, they're not cheap. They use a lot of very expensive materials, and they use a lot more components than other lower end cards. So they're a lot more expensive to make. Okay, so I think we're almost through the benchmark. This is the CPU test, guys. That's also why it's very, very low FPS. And you can also see the GPU is kind of picking its nose. Was it 3%? Really low.
47 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, it was like getting cold. It was like, turn up the heat, dude. All right, waiting for the results to come up. So this TimeSpy is stream. So the score will be different than the regular TimeSpy, obviously. Here we go.
Frank said before the score was right there, I'm calling the score in between 7,500 and 7,700.
Wow.
You were correct, Frank.
Impressive. That's impressive, dude. Nice. So
Good call.
do you do a lot of overclock? Because it seems like you know this benchmark quite well. And if you do, what is your best score? And which hardware do you use? Alright, so let's validate this one. So basically validating also enables us to kind of get an idea of where are we, you know, compared to everybody else. So this this benchmark we can see is also very much done by a lot of high-end rigs. We are better than 92% of all results. But that also includes all the benchmarks entered with two-way SLI or more if it's at all possible. So it's not everybody with this exact setup that we're comparing that is being compared to. So just keep that in mind. And there are a lot. If you look at the top results, probably all of them, or 100% sure all of them are SLI configurations with multiple cards. But still, really impressive. It's like way above what 3D Mark rates as a 4K gaming PC.
Yeah, Frank is an extreme overclocker himself.
Oh, there you go.
So that was an educated guess.
Yeah. So all the difficult questions we might get in the chat, you might be able to answer as well. But it's good to have you guys with us, man. I mean, here's the thing. I am actually not an extreme overclocker, so probably you know more about it than me.
His score is on the scoreboard. His overclock name is Rage Set.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Let's see if we can find you, Frank.
I don't know where I can find this actually.
Compare results online, I think, perhaps.
Is it? I mean, now we're just starting on a wild goose chase, I think. I don't know. I mean, we're not logged in or anything. Results Hall of Fame. I don't know. We have limited time, so we'll definitely look it up. And really nice that you're watching. I mean, we can't teach you anything probably, but it's good to have people in the community watching that know their stuff. And maybe you can, if we get anything wrong, you can correct us. Feel free.
Martijn is asking, are you Dutch? Yeah, we're Dutch.
Ah, yes, we are. All right, so let's see in GPU Z what we have now, because we now did a other benchmark with overclocked settings. So just to recap, we put 100 megahertz up on the core clock, and we put 1200 megahertz up on the memory clock. The rest we pretty much left at stock. We are cheating a little bit because we have our Afterburner Extreme, so that probably gives us a little bit of an edge versus the normal Afterburner. Let's see. So now the GPU temperature went up to 71 degrees. That's still nothing, guys. GPU core clock, the top value was 2070, so 2070 megahertz. Pretty nice, pretty spicy. RPM was up a little bit higher because the temperature obviously was up a little bit higher, so it ramps up automatically. But 100 RPM is nothing.
You can see it in the Hall of Fame, by the way.
Oh, can I? Okay,
yeah, you can.
Maybe we'll see it there. And the power consumption, as you can see now, when you start overclocking, it goes up a bit. So now the peak value it measured was 388 or 389 watts. So this is the thing you need to keep in mind also when you are planning to do some overclocking on this card. Your power supply needs to have enough headroom with power in terms, to manage higher peaks. Because the more we go on, and especially in overclocking, the power usage or power consumption ramps up very high. Even if you have small increments or small, add small values to your clock speeds, the power usage will ramp up. What's the word? There's a word for that ramps up
exponentially.
Yes, exponentially. That's the thing, Yankee. So, it's not very power efficient. So if you're going for power efficiency, overclocking is not really the thing for you. Downclocking might be more of a thing.
Undervolting.
Undervolting indeed. But this is about all just getting the maximum value.
Frank will be buying 2 of those cards.
Nice.
So you will probably crush our scores there.
Yeah, man. we will keep an eye on the Hall of Fame then, and we want to see your name there, dude. Because if you didn't, if you don't make it there, you did something wrong. Because this card, there are actually a lot of. I think it's a HW bot or also in 3D Mark, but there are already a lot of global first places with both single and double GPU setup.
GPU,
That are at the moment done by Lightning. Alright, so what we'll do now is I'll activate cheat mode, and I'm gonna power down the system. And I'm going to switch. No, I don't want to
Update. So I'm actually going to do it a different way. But I'm going to switch to the LN2 BIOS. So like I mentioned before, we got our hands on a non-official BIOS, V-BIOS, and we flashed it onto the card, which gives us even more ridiculous headroom to play with. That's not necessarily saying that we will get more performance out of it. That's not guaranteed.
We don't have extreme cooling, unfortunately.
Exactly, because that would take extreme cooling as well. But we can see if we can maybe get a little bit more out of it. And it should be allowing us to fiddle around a little bit more with the voltages. And that can also turn out positively or negatively. Because again, I'm not an extreme overclocker, but I do know that you need like an exact mix of voltages and millivolts and clock speeds. You know, the mix and the combination, the balance should be just right. And it takes hours or even days to find that if you don't have the experience. If you have some experience, you probably will be able to guesstimate, like our friend already did. You know, he knows his stuff. So there you go. And he probably knows that.
Very good guesstimate.
Exactly. by years of experience of overclocking. So yeah, I'm pretty much the occasional overclocker. I used to do this every now and again because I thought, well, you know, some nice extra performance out of my card, but I never ripped the cooler off, for example. I just did it on air cooling. So just to give you a little bit of perspective, that's the level of overclocking I'm used to.
I've ripped some coolers off.
Well, I've ripped some coolers off, but I never did, you know, liquid nitrogen cooling or stuff like that.
I haven't done liquid nitrogen, only dry ice.
Yeah.
So it's not as cold as liquid nitrogen.
No, but it's already pretty damn cold.
Yeah, it's pretty cold.
I think I might need to reboot again. I'm not sure. Either that or can you check if it is, because we were running it. You know, maybe it's only sending it to the capture card because it's only detecting. There you go. Okay, but I probably will need to reboot again anyway because it's not
doing the correct resolution. So this is a thing also. So when you then switch to the BIOS,
especially when it's an unofficial BIOS, probably now will show.
And Cash says I will play Minecraft with it. I think you can.
Yeah, it will.
You should be fine.
It will probably play Minecraft pretty well. Yeah. So I'll restart.
Frank's asking, will this free BIOS will be made available for us if we buy those cards?
Officially, no, because it's not allowed. But again, you know, I also managed to get my hands on an unofficial BIOS. There are some, you know, enthusiasts doing BIOS editing. So, you know, if you look hard enough, usually, especially overclocker forums, they usually also share BIOS files. So you probably will be able to find something, you know. What's crazy about that is
this might be out there somewhere.
Actually, it's become a bit more popular with the whole mining thing, because also with the mining thing, people used to, I heard a lot of people put like specific or custom BIOS on their graphics card to minimize power usage and maximize the you know, the mining potential or something like that. So I never knew this. I was really surprised by it because I thought, holy crap, that's like really technical. I only maybe updated the V-BIOS or flashed the V-BIOS like maybe 2 times, 3 times in my life before I started working at MSI. I mean, here you sometimes do it because you have to test stuff, obviously, but normally you probably won't have to unless there's a big problem.
Yeah, usually we get hardware quite early, so it doesn't have the final BIOS yet.
Yeah.
So sometimes we have to flash it with the actual
and you know,
final
test it
version later,
and see, you know, and we're quite well connected. You maybe in previous stream you might have seen Ruud, who is one of our technical FAE support staff. He and his other colleagues will do a lot of testing with different versions and fine tuning, and, you know, give feedback about these things. So usually we get a lot of information from them as well about, you know, the finer details, because they will have all the details. We unfortunately also don't have the time to test everything, so we will be testing a couple of things usually, but we won't know all of the details. There we go. Now I've got image again. Okay, so now we should be on the custom BIOS. I'm just going to close a few programs that don't matter. Afterburner might start saying I need to restart again, but maybe not. No? Okay, cool.
Looks all good.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Good. Yeah, we've still got all the options here. I'm probably not gonna mess with the voltage today. I actually tried that earlier today. It didn't turn out that well as I expected, because that's kind of also the moment that I realized, okay, I need to find the right mix, and that's gonna take like really long. And I just want to give like a small demonstration to you guys of kind of how it works and what you can get out of it. So I believe a nice core clock speed. I had it running on 200 megahertz plus, and memory clock speed I had 1300 at some point. That's not a guarantee that it will work again, by the way. I also found that out because one run it finished the benchmark just fine, and
so that's when you know you're going to push the limits.
Exactly. I also tried another benchmark right after that, and that one crashed. So that meant I was right on the edge of what would run and what wouldn't. I'm just gonna turn up the fan speed just because it will give a nice whooshy noise and it will keep the temperatures down. So the power limit is all the way up.
You might be able to hear it now because the microphone is not very far from the car.
Yeah, exactly. The core voltage I'm not going to touch because this is not a slider of 100%. If I now click apply, it will actually say that it's going to push 1600 millivolts through the card, which
is too
is
much
not
for
good.
air cooling.
Yes, so that would mean that the card would heat up very quickly and it would probably shut down. So I'm just going to keep it on auto so that it can arrange its own voltage control. Let's see, what else do I need to do? GPU Z, because I want to be able to read out what the usage is like. Here we go. And let's see, let's just start up 3D Mark and do times by extreme. Benchmarks times by extreme. So if you guys have any questions in the meantime, because this will take a while, unless it crashes, then it's going to be rather quick.
Cash was asking, is overclocking a CPU worth it? But Frank already answered. Yes, overclocking is life, it's always worth it.
Nice.
That's a clear answer.
Well, if you have good enough cooling and your power supply can handle it,
and your motherboard can handle it,
it's extra performance for free.
And it's cool to fiddle around with.
Yeah, it just takes a bit of time. It is really, it depends. If it is your thing, I really liked. It's a learning curve. It's a learning process. You just fiddle around with it, and you learn a hell of a lot about all kinds of settings and stuff you can change. So.
And you can go as far as you want. You can do basic overclocking all the way up to extreme.
I was going to say all the way up to 11. We've got a dial on some of our motherboards that it's kind of like presets.
Yeah.
There we go. Right, so 2070 megahertz again. I think we had this on our last run actually on the default. So that means the default BIOS is really good as well. But the memory overclock is running at 8300 megahertz, which is higher than we had before. Temperature, as you can see, 59 degrees. This is air, guys, remember that, and it's quite hot here. 60 degrees. So this really shows you that the cooler is really good. So we're just gonna let it finish. If you guys have any questions?
We're getting greetings from Bolivia. From Rodolfo. Greetings back from the Netherlands.
Back. Nice to have you with us. What time is it in there, man? It's like really early morning, right, Bolivia? I would expect.
Yeah, I think so.
Did you hide the specs?
Yeah, I just...
You already did it. Good.
Yeah.
Good man, good man. Yeah,
so now
you guys
it's easier to see all the statistics.
Yeah. But out of the box, we already tuned this card to give a really good experience. The clock speeds are higher than our gaming 2080 Ti Gaming X Trio. So, again, if you're just buying it to play games, you'll still get at least as good an experience as Gaming X Trio, but probably even better because it's tuned a bit higher, so you'll get more FPS out of it. It won't be a huge difference, a couple of percentage, so a couple of FPS, but
Crooney46 is asking if there will be an MSI Fan Day this year in the Netherlands. I'm not sure. It's a local team that manages that.
Unfortunately, we don't do the local marketing, so we are actually basically global marketing. The thing that we do is used. We do it in English usually. Also, it's used all over the world. as a basis, then it's being translated a lot of the times. So the local Dutch team will be in charge of arranging fan days or not. So you probably, if you know about the existence of them, you might have already been to one. Either that, or you probably want to subscribe, because you will probably get an email if you want to attend them. Or make sure you look at our, I think it's our Facebook page as well, or at least social media. So make sure you keep an eye on them, because they will usually post out a localized message with, you know, just targeted at local level to highlight or to announce it. So
Rodolfo says it's noon in Bolivia. Right?
it is already noon. Holy crap!
Evolotak says it's 11 past 6 in Spain. Well, it's 11 past 6 here as well.
Exactly, in the same time zone.
Yep.
Hmm.
Am I seeing tearing? That could be correct, because we're currently the capture card is also hooked up to the graphics card.
We're using two screens, so this one is actually displaying it, and we're running a different cable, so HDMI into a capture card.
And the capture card does not support adaptive sync.
No, it acts like a monitor, so the card kind of sees it like, okay, so you've got a second monitor there.
Mm-hmm.
We're duplicating the images, of course, but yeah, so
adaptive sync is turned off right now, so yes,
exactly.
you could see tearing.
Yeah, and especially, you know, this is very low FPS, so that doesn't help matters. But this is the CPU benchmark. As you can also see, the GPU temperature is down to 37 degrees. It's actually the water cooling for the CPU now rattling up.
Everyone says sync in benchmark will cost performance, and there's also no point in using adaptive sync in benchmarks.
Yeah. Benchmark isn't, you know, yes, it looks cool. I always thought they looked cool, but that's not their main purpose. You know, so usually people don't benchmark people, and the people who do overclocking, they don't care if there's tearing, if it looks bad, they don't care. I think,
and adaptive sync, you want it for smooth movement, and because you're not like.
I think you said before as well. Yourself. For example, if you get artifacts, which is kind of, if you're pushing the limits, you might get artifacts, which is like the, you know, deformed graphics on the screen and stuff like that. Yeah. But you still finish the benchmark. That's actually really good, because that means it
can actually help you achieve a higher score.
Exactly.
If you have a good artifact run.
So it's all about the score, guys. That's the thing. Anyway, so yeah, the higher score. I don't actually remember. I forgot what the score was before.
I think it was 7,500 and a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, because he guessed it indeed.
Yeah.
So it was like in 7,500s.
So we went up a bit.
Yeah, so we went up a nice bit.
And this is only an overclock on the GPU, so the CPU is still at stock speed.
Yeah, because the CPU, just to be clear, guys, there's 2 graphics card runs, and then there's a CPU run in Times by Extreme. So the CPU is also being tested, and that one is just, you know, stock. Again, we're still better than 92% of all results. Didn't go up any percentage there, but you know, still pretty nice. So, but you can see the increase in score already. And I mean, in terms of temperatures and stuff like that, let's have a quick look at that. And then after that, what we'll do is
I think with the fans blowing at this speed, we'll still be good.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. GPU temperature 66 degrees. That was the highest. 66 degrees. That's actually that's a lot lower than before.
Fine.
Yeah. But of course, you know, the fan speed. So here you can see. Okay, so 3,100 RPM, pretty much. Yeah, that's about right. So I think max is around 3,500 or something like that. In terms of power consumption, however, look at that.
Yeah, there we went up a little.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but last run we had, I think it was 300 and, well, we started out with 356, something like that, you know, which was very close to the stock. Then we started overclocking a bit. We got 387, so 389.
Yeah.
Now we're up to 481.
So that's the exponential increase that we were talking about.
Because we didn't increase the performance and the clock speed that much actually. So if you increase it even more and also apply more voltage, the power usage will go up really fast, but also the temperature. So this is the thing about overclocking, and that's what makes it so difficult. And it's like finding a balance, and that's why, you know, with the liquid nitrogen, for example, you have to try and maintain the exact right balance for the benchmark to finish. And if it crashes after that, it doesn't matter. You know, you finish the benchmark. That's what it's all about. That's the game of overclocking. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So, okay, so this is nice. I could do some more overclocking until it crashes, but you know, there's really no point. Also, we don't have that much time left.
We had some Battlefield requests.
Yeah,
I
propose I'm gonna fire up some Battlefield. In the meantime, you can maybe pick another winner.
That sounds good to me.
Because you know we still want to make some more people happy as well. So let's see if we can fire this up, and we'll just keep it in the overclock settings, guys. So just so you know, we are still in Afterburner, so it's still 200 megahertz on top of the normal clock speeds, and 1300 on the memory.
We have a cool winner.
Again.
We have a really cool winner this
All right,
time.
go ahead.
That was the one with the right guess.
Oh wow! All right, cool.
Frank Rees, congratulations.
Frank,
You won a $20 Steam wallet code.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. You probably have the Port Royal thing addition to 3D Mark, but if you don't and you have 3D Mark on Steam, I noticed that they have like an additional thing that you can buy there as well. So maybe if you don't have it already, there you go. You can get Port Royal, the ray tracing benchmark. All right. In the meantime, we've loaded into Battlefield. As you can see.
So now it's still overclocked, right?
It's still overclocked. Yeah. Yep. So quite a nice high frequency here, 2085 megahertz. The memory speed is still 8300, which is 1300 above the stock speeds. Well, we're in the menu, but you know you can already see it's 100 plus FPS. I'll just go into the settings for you guys so you can see what we're running. So obviously, because of the stream, it can only handle 1080p, so we're doing full HD. We are running a 144 Hz monitor though. I know the stream is only doing 60 FPS, so I hope it's okay in terms of tearing, but I can't guarantee it. And when we go to advanced options, you can see DirectX 12 is on and DXR. DXR is of course for the ray tracing.
DirectX ray tracing.
Yes, that stands for DirectX ray tracing. Also, well, HDR is on auto. I mean, yeah, I can turn it off. I don't know, it probably won't even make any difference. The most important part though is we've got everything. It's the auto setting for max fidelity, which means highest quality. So everything on ultra, even the ray tracing effects are on ultra. Just so you know.
Is asking what software is the one you use to display on screen for GPU info, top right corner.
Afterburner.
Yeah, MSI Afterburner.
Yes. So if you look back there, you will be able to find some of our videos. I think we even have a blog article. If you check, if you Google search, or maybe you can put it in the chat if you could find it. How to set up on-screen display. OSD stands for on-screen display with MSI Afterburner. So that provides you a list or a step-by-step guide of how to set it up. It's a really useful tool to keep an eye on your system metrics, as you can see, while you play a game. So if anything is bottlenecking, by selecting the right data to show there, you can probably find out what is causing it. And it might help you to find a way to
I hope all the steps will still be correct, because it's
a
couple of years old, the blog.
Yeah, some things have changed. But probably, I mean, that feature hasn't changed that much. The only thing that they've added in the past couple of years is that you can not only display numbers, but you can also display a graph. So as you can see here, my FPS is you know, visible in a graph. Alright, so we are gonna just select a random game, just Conquest, whatever, let's do it. This is just, guys, so you know what the performance is like in a game. This is with everything on ultra, ray tracing on 1080p. And I think the game is still capping it at 144 Hz, because I put that in the menu, that this is 144 Hz monitor. But that's fine. Alright, let's see. Let's just go balls to the wall, shall we? Alright. So as you can see, a nice 100 FPS plus experience with ray tracing on the highest setting.
Saltclick is asking, is it getting hot there? I'm right behind the car, and yeah, it is heating up a little bit.
Yeah. But especially the GPU is still only 52 degrees right now in the game, as you can see.
So now I'm also 52 degrees pretty much.
Oh.
Because the fans are I think you put them to 85% fan speed.
Yeah.
So it's blowing quite hard towards me now.
And I'm getting really nice, 100 plus FPS, and I'm really going fast through these parts here. So you can. This is quite intensive. I'm probably gonna die. Oh, here we go.
That was to be expected if you're driving like that.
You suffered a casualty. Well, I told you I was gonna go in balls to the wall, didn't I?
Avatox is asking, is RTX on? Yes, RTX is on.
Yeah, on the highest setting.
Yeah, everything on Ultra RTX on.
Yeah. So I'll go. I'll be the useless sniper because I'm also gonna look around a little bit so I can show you a little bit of the ray tracing. I don't know if there's much ray tracing going on here. There probably is, but it's hard to find maybe. Let's see, there's some windows.
Maybe car reflections.
Yeah, exactly.
In the window of the car, I think you can see.
Well, you need something that it reflects.
Yeah,
and
you need the right angle.
Exactly. And probably last man standing. What the hell is that? But some water is usually also very nice. Here we go. I don't know. I think the Rotterdam map is the best for this. They also that's where they.
There you have the shiny floor with all the reflections.
Yeah, but also the cars.
The ray tracing room.
Yeah. But I mean, this game looks really nice regardless. We're getting some stutter. I don't know what that's about.
Did we crash it? Did we
I
clock
don't
it
know.
too
Maybe we broke it. I don't know. Ooh, that looks promising.
Indeed, looks promising.
Yeah. Oh, so that might have crashed now. Yeah. That or something was messing with it.
Maybe we should clock it back a little bit.
Yep. Let's see. Let's go to just 100. 1200. That should be just fine. I'll actually
Wong just said so smooth, and then the game crashed.
Yeah, you jinxed it, man. You jinxed it. It was you. No, just kidding. I mean, but this is kind of the thing, you know, you can overclock and game, but there is always a chance that it might...
if you go too far, it will be unstable.
If you're pushing the limits, yeah, that it might be unstable. And to be fair, you know, we are pushing the game, you know, we've got all the highest settings as well. Yes, it's a 2080 Ti, so it should be able to handle it just fine. But if you're then overclocking it as well, there is always a risk that it can become a little bit unstable. The good thing is you can always clock it back a little bit, go back in, and you know, it'll be fine again.
And maybe we can find a Rotterdam map now.
Yeah, that's that was
nice.
I was thinking that as well. So let's see, because then I can say advanced search. I only want Rotterdam. There we go. Come on.
There's two maps named Rotterdam.
3 slots. Yeah, apparently I don't know about that. Anyway, let's see. Ooh, I do want something with an acceptable ping if possible.
That would be nice. Somewhere in Europe should be fine.
Still, okay, so this one's still open. Okay. Sorry to the guys in the server because we're going to be slightly useless. We're
just going to watch ray tracing.
We're mostly gonna go and watch ray tracing stuff indeed. So maybe you can also show. I don't know if it's visible, but you can keep an eye on the usage, the power usage. Here we go.
It's only set the voltage. We cannot see the power usage, unfortunately.
I think it's something's still struggling. Maybe I should have rebooted or something. Maybe it's gonna pick back up. Oh, it's picking back up. I noticed that the FPS was still struggling a bit at the beginning. Let's see. Can I think the cars are on this side of the map. Wow. Okay. So sometimes if it crashes, guys, it's best to just reboot the PC because it can still remain unstable. I don't know if this guy was still. Oh well. Okay. We were getting really spawning really close to the enemy there. It seems to be okay now. Usually it's advised if your PC crashes, just reboot.
We're almost at the end of the game already.
Yeah, as well. So, but we're winning by the look of it. But I want to get a good look at some ray tracing stuff. So come on. I've seen some ray tracing in these tram cars as well, if they still have glass. So there you go.
JJ Castillo is asking why not in 4K though. Unfortunately, we cannot capture 4K. So We have to play in full HD anyway.
Yeah, and it's a little. Oh wait a minute. Oh, they found it again.
But maybe in the future, if we have new capturing equipment, we might be able to do some 4K capturing as well.
Yeah, I mean we can try and work on that.
And maybe if the platforms are ready, we might be able to broadcast it in 4K as well.
Yeah.
I think if you walk back a little bit, you had a really nice reflection on the front of the train.
Yeah, no, I had a couple of things. I mean, these cars should be. I mean, this one's a bit damaged, but I mean, even these parts are reflecting these chrome parts. We did a video about it last week, I believe, because there you can see me running around as well. But it's all being reflected in real time. Am I turning into an NVIDIA representative here? Kind of feels like it. Yeah, but I mean,
here you can clearly see it, the reflection of the building.
Yeah, and this is the thing you usually in games you don't get. It's like it will give some like an illusion of a reflection usually, but you don't get the actual real-time reflections. And here it does. So even if the building is destroyed, for example, it will display that as well. So it's all, yeah, it's a really nice detail, and it just makes it look a lot more real and realistic. How are we on the power usage? It's a little bit lower than the benchmark,
voltage.
right?
We cannot see power usage, but
Oh, sorry,
we're
yeah.
a little over 1.1 volts.
Yeah, but it's note that it's a little bit lower, and this is usually the case for games versus benchmarks. Benchmarks are usually a little bit more optimized to make maximum use of, you know, the hardware.
So now we can see it. It's lower again.
Yeah.
Oh, now it goes up.
Yeah,
because we're joining a new game.
Yeah.
So which map will it be?
Hamada.
I don't think I've played that one.
I don't know if there's much ray tracing going on there, but I mean, you know, we're looking at the performance. We were seeing quite nice, you know, high FPS, around 100 plus. So you know, and that's with everything on Ultra, guys. So if you know, there's a lot of things you can still do if you have like a 2060. We also demonstrated that. I think was it last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last week. And so you know, there's so much you can do. Let's grab ourselves a tank. Let's be a lame tanker. Oh, there's a sandstorm. Do 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 do. I mean, this game is gorgeous, even just for the ray tracing. If you have a card like this, and you know,
it's already gorgeous without ray tracing.
it is, yeah. But the ray tracing just
even
makes
better.
it look so much nicer. And I mean, the performance of the ray tracing as well. We keep saying this, but it's true. It will keep increasing because of the DLSS as well. So deep learning, super sampling. That can make a major difference because it just improves the efficiency massively of the card's performance.
But still, ray tracing, it will give you a significant performance impact.
It will, yeah. But I mean, already it's
So
a lot
especially
less
if you
than
want
it
to
was.
do it on higher resolutions.
Yeah, but it's already a lot less than it was.
Yeah, it's true. They're
I
optimizing.
actually
quite
don't know this map. I don't know where I'm where I can go with the tank. Again, I'm slightly useless to the team. Sorry about that. Probably I can help to capture this zone. Actually, it's being captured by enemies, so I need to be on the lookout. There's something shooting at me. What is it? I bet I'm gonna be surrounded again pretty soon. Oh, actually, I'm capturing. Oh wow. Okay. There's something shooting me. There's so much dust that I actually can't see.
It's quite hard to see.
Yeah. Probably one of those flak wagons or something. Oh wow.
Oh, you can destroy the full map.
Yep. Apparently. That's nice.
Break all the things.
Break them all! So was there another vehicle here? An enemy vehicle?
So you're in between 110, 120 frames per second.
Yeah. Oh wow, there we go. Hello!
Found the body.
Oh, missed. We're gonna see if we can... Where did he go? He smoked, didn't he? Where did he You sneaky little bastard. See if we can destroy him real quick. Oh, I
Where
can't
is he?
see
Oh,
a
there.
thing. I really can't see a thing. Oh, he got out. He got out. Get away from me.
Did you kill him?
No. I missed, of course. He's
You
still
cannot
like-
beat
he's
a
playing
running
chicken.
guy with a tank.
He's playing chicken with me. Oh, now he's dead. Alright. Oh wow, okay, so now that my team got him.
Oh, the weather got a bit better.
Yeah. Ah, I can bear the tank a little bit. Anyway, so really good performance. And this is with friggin' maximum ray tracing, just everything maxed out. Everything. Every little thing. There was somebody staring at me right there. Where are you,
There
buddy?
he is.
Where are you? Yeah, running. Not so brave now, are you? Oh, wait a minute.
Is that the same guy?
Probably. I hit him. Oh, look, I'm a pilot now.
He's still alive.
Yes, he is. Because I'm crap. Yeah, I'm crap. Wow.
The invincible man.
Pretty much. But it's just down to me being crap more than
There he is
anything.
again.
Oh, look at that third traverse.
So Click is saying you just destroyed the national cultural buildings.
Ah, dude. I know. It's just pixels, though. No. He killed me.
Time
And
to wrap
rightly
it up
so.
for today.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a nice idea now about the Lightning card, what it can do, how you can do it, a lot of the features, some overclocking. I mean, again, you know, extreme overclocking is something different entirely. We showed you a little bit. If you want to watch it back, if you just joined, you can watch back the stream on YouTube, for example. There you can see we also showed you a little bit of examples of how you do extreme overclocking or how other people do it, actually.
One last question from SoulClick. How about gaming power consumption now?
Oh yeah, I mean we
Take a
can,
quick
we
look
can,
at
we
it.
can take a quick look at that because I think we had it running in the background. So let's see.
Yeah. No?
No.
Oh no, we didn't have
Oh crap.
GPU Xeon.
No. And Afterburner, I don't think it shows that. Usage bus, clock power percentage. I don't think it shows the exact value. Maybe I can very quickly do that. Wait a minute. Because we don't want to disappoint you guys. I'm also quite curious, actually. So, I'm just doing this. Switching back to the game. PCs just love it when you alt-tab in and out of the game, man. I swear. They love it.
Overclock said, if you're ending, I'll stay till the end.
Yeah. Okay, this one I can still join. Again, this is with a small overclock. Oh, we're getting Rotterdam again, that's nice. What about power usage? This is idle again.
The voltage is
The voltage, yeah.
0.7.
Oh, here we go, now it's up
0.7.
again.
So
Okay.
it's ramping up to 1.1.
Of course it is. Alright, let's go here again. Let's see if we can actually see some ray tracing without getting killed. Let's see. Yeah, so here you can see me in real time, you know, doing a little dance. I don't know if you can actually
In the water.
get up on the. It's a little bit glitchy, but you get the idea. You can see my gun sticking out. You see the building there. Yeah, I mean the water should be as well, but it's a bit harder. Well, you can see, for example, this light, the street light, and also nice is that the further away, pretty much the part is that is reflected, the more how do you say it? The more vague it becomes. Basically, it's like how it works in real life as well. Reflections, refractions, and all that kind of stuff. It's just. It's very detailed. There you can see, you know, just in a random building, you probably won't even notice it maybe in sometimes.
So Randy Shot's asking how much was it clocked. So it's currently at
1950.
Yeah.
1950 megahertz. Is this the ray tracing building?
Yeah, this is it. You can see it on the floor already.
Oh, there you go, yeah. So the light, for example. Look at that.
The ray tracing room.
see if we can break some floor.
You already broke a lot of buildings and you're breaking the floor.
Yeah, of course. Can I use the elevator? No. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, this is amazing.
So how's the power
Look at
consumption
this
now?
on the floor. Look at that. Nice. This is ridiculous, guys. This is ridiculous. This is what it looks like in real
We were
life.
so addicted to gaming. We were just
Well,
checking the power consumption and oh, look at this, look at this.
well, I'm amazed. I keep being amazed by this game because I just don't know how the frick they do this.
Oh,
And I mean,
oops.
yeah, there's a performance hit. but-
You were like, oh, it's so gorgeous, and I had the wrong seat on, so no one was able to see it.
Really?
Okay,
Oh my God.
Run back into the room.
Oh my god. Nice.
Sorry
nice.
about that, guys.
Nice memes.
We'll go back into the ray tracing room.
But I mean, this is what I was talking about, you know. This kind of reflection, if it's really
Oh,
good,
it's so gorgeous.
if it's
Like,
really-
what's gorgeous?
polished marble, you know, that's how it looks like in real life. And I'm ignoring my teammates completely.
Sorry about that.
Just look at
So
that.
now you can see the ray tracing.
Yeah, that's ridiculous though, isn't it? Oh,
Good timing.
Yeah, good timing. Let's switch out of the game. Hello. Sensors. Here we go. Power usage, power consumption. Only 301 watts.
Oh, yeah, only.
Because
For this card, it's only.
exactly,
Yeah.
and this is with a small overclock,
Yeah.
pretty much, but you know, still overclocked. So you know, gaming usually isn't quite as taxing as benchmarking. That's also why benchmarking is a really useful tool and really good way to test is a certain overclock setting, is it stable, yes or no. Still, games put pressure or load the card in a very different way than benchmarks do. So you know, it can always differ, but usually games don't quite tax it as much as benchmarks do. So again, you know, yeah, really nice example. And now we have the numbers as well. So much, well, relatively much lower power consumption
Yeah,
than
like
benchmark.
the highest we had today was 480 something.
481 or something like that. Yeah, so. But that was, you know, with a really high overclock. Well, relatively higher. Than,
So, for
All
next
right.
week, I'm going to do a nice build with
Yeah.
our new Gungnir case.
You're gonna do that, right?
Yep, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to build a high-end 1080p gaming system with the new Gungnir, and we'll also do some RGB stuff with it.
What
'cause
is
that's progressive
high-end
RGB.
1080p? What does that entail? What do you mean by high-end? Does it need to
that you
do
can play-
144 hertz or 230 or what kind of thing should I be thinking
Even
about?
higher than 144 hertz.
Over
So we're-
9,000.
We're going all the way. We're going up to 11. Not in FPS, but
All right. Okay. Cool. I'm looking forward to it.
me too, actually.
I'll be watching. I know I will be. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys.
See you next week.
See you next week. Don't miss out on the Gungnir build. And to the guys who won the code, congratulations.
Yeah, we'll email it to you probably tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
So see you next time.
See you next time, guys.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.